everywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of a matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
Practice Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain,
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News.
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The battle to find dozens of British nationals missing and feared dead after flash flooding in Nepal.
Nepalese police say 157 bodies have now been recovered, with the death toll expected to rise as 33 UK citizens remain unaccounted for, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl.
Well, in total, 403 people are missing across the region, with rescue teams battling difficult terrain to try to reach survivors.
Elsewhere today, the killers of PC Harper will not be freed under the early release scheme. That's following the Prime Minister's pledge to do everything possible to keep Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole behind bars.
Berlin could bolster Britain's nuclear shield under new plans to end our reliance on America. Meanwhile, the CIA boss's motive for a secret trip to Moscow is revealed.
Meta, the parent company of both Facebook, Instagram and indeed WhatsApp, has agreed a landmark settlement to pay up to $17 billion and change the face of social media for all teenagers.
Tim Curry, the legendary British actor best known for playing Dr. Frankenfurter in the cult classic The Rocky Horror Picture Show, has died at the age of 80.
A very good morning. Tottenham are off the mark for the season as they thumped an unrecognisable Charlton side 5-1 in the Carabao Cup last night. FIFA President Gianni Infantino, meanwhile, is under renewed pressure, and could Jack Grealish be heading for an emotional return to Aston Villa?
Good morning. A wet start across southern areas. That rain will push northwards throughout the morning, but there is a thunderstorm warning out for much of England and Wales. I will have all the details for you a little later on.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Right, we're starting with the news that 33 Brits, including a 13-year-old girl, are amongst hundreds still missing after a massive flood swept through Nepal.
Look.
Well, at least 162 people have now been confirmed dead. It's after a glacial collapse triggered flash floods and buried entire villages in mud.
Well, Nepal's tourist board says 403 people are missing, including 33 Brits, 47 Americans, 34 Australians and 24 Canadians, with many caught up on a pilgrimage in Tibet.
Well, video footage from the region shows bridges being swept away and people fleeing uphill as the floodwaters surge through valleys.
Well, we spoke to Nepalese student Ganesh Khadka to get his thoughts on what was happening.
As of now, I think there is no certainty whether it was a glacier burst or dam got burst out. Still, reports are not verified yet because it's extremely difficult to get access to those mountains. So I think it's a challenging time.
Yeah, indeed. And at least 157 dead. I mean, I don't like this, obviously, but you would imagine that that death toll is probably going to rise significantly.
That is likely to be the case because as per the social media reports and all the news that I've been following throughout the morning and during the day, we can see the level of devastation. And I think there are so many missing cases throughout the day. A lot of people have been sharing the names of the family members in social media. So I think that number is likely to go high.
How difficult is this to get to for rescue teams? Is it, going to have to be a kind of a series of helicopters, etc., or are there other ways into this area?
It's extremely difficult because of the mountain terrain. Getting access to these people, the only way would be helicopters. And because of the weather condition, even the limited number of helicopters available for rescue operation, the chances of rescuing a mass number of people is going to be limited.
I mean, the pictures are unbelievable.
Devastating.
Frankly, I mean, absolutely terrifying. And unfortunately, that death toll, you would imagine, is going to get considerably higher. And when you look at just how much devastation this has caused, and how quickly it happened, it's that people didn't seem to have an awful lot of time to get out. There seemed to be very little warning. And on that particular shot that you can see now beforehand, there were just people walking in front of that building, seemingly with no idea what was heading their way.
A 30-foot wall of rock, mud and freezing water just destroying bridges, destroying almost 30 miles of road. So that is going to make the rescue operation very, very difficult, isn't it? In terms of access to that valley. It's very difficult terrain in the first place.
Yeah.
But without those bridges, without access to those roads, it's going to be very difficult to even get a sense of the devastation.
And as our guest was saying last night, helicopters are going to be the only way to sort of get up there. But, I mean, looking at that terrain, where are they going to land?
Yeah.
It's going to be... if you're literally winching people off hillsides, it's one or two at a time. And they're could well be hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people who need picking up. So, I mean, it's an absolutely horrific situation. I would imagine there will be an international response to this being coordinated as we speak.
Well, the UN have already said that they will be sending supplies. I'm sure we're going to hear more about an international response to all of this. Andy Burnham has said that the scenes are absolutely devastating. His thoughts are with all of those affected, including the families and the loved ones of the British nationals who are missing, of whom there are 33, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl.
Well, we'll keep you up to date with that as we get more details through.
Now, in other news this morning at 6:06, the Justice Secretary has said he is confident that PC Andrew Harper's killers will stay behind bars. It's after the Prime Minister requested that they be excluded from the early release scheme.
Well, it comes as Alex Norris informed police chiefs that the 2026 Sentencing Act will now be amended to honour Harper's law, preventing those convicted of unlawful act manslaughter from getting early release.
Well, Jesse Cole and Albert Bowers will now likely continue to serve their 13-year sentences without eligibility for parole.
Let's talk to Tally Fraser, commissioning editor at The Spectator, who's here. Good morning.
Morning.
So how is this being done? Because we were told at one stage there was nothing that they could do.
Yes, at one stage, amongst the backlash to Labour's sort of early release scheme, they had already sort of made exemptions for 1,000 rapists and child groomers from the early release scheme, but they hadn't done so for manslaughter. Now, this is where PC Harper's killers come in. What they're planning on doing, what Alex Norris, the Justice Secretary, is planning on doing, is introducing secondary legislation which basically changes existing laws quickly to include rapists, child groomers, and this specific bit of manslaughter called unlawful act manslaughter. Now, that's where someone causes the death of another whilst committing an illegal act, which in this case, Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole did in the case of PC Harper. So I think under the pressure, the immense pressure that Andy Burnham was under to not let his killers, PC Harper's killers, out in early release just 7 years after PC Harper's death. He's found a way, they seem to have found a way, at least, to not allow for all manslaughter, but allow for this element of manslaughter.
This will be welcome news from the public, won't it, Tally? 1 million people signed this petition to keep PC Andrew Harper's killers in jail. There is this argument, though, and there's this concern that public sentiment determining prison sentences is quite a dangerous precedent. What do you make of that?
Yeah, there definitely is that argument. I think when it comes to looking at this case, you can see why so many people have signed the petition, because PC Harper, his killers are just 7 years into their sentences. To then be eligible for early release, I think people would be entirely shocked by, and you can understand why. Yes, there is part of the plans to tackle overcrowding in prisons and allow for prison space to still exist, but I think people will rightly be asking, surely there is a way other than releasing these killers to look at how to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, we're in this difficult situation where, so the vast majority of people watching and listening will support this move. However, it's still a problem for the government, isn't it, that they are, as with Keir Starmer, seem to be reactive rather than proactive, and that's got to change.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point. And the problem is, yes, it looks like they're about to deal with PC Harper's killers now, but there are other sort of examples within the early release scheme that could still cause problems for Labour further down the line. So domestic abusers may still be eligible for early release. That could cause real problems amongst, campaigners and activists pushing the Labour government, saying, OK, well, if we can find a workaround for this, why aren't we finding an exemption around domestic abuse? Why are you letting domestic abusers back onto the street? And if they keep basically having to go through all these different problems, this is going to plague Andy Burnham's government again for months.
Well, you can just see these issues coming down the track, can't you? Already we had that headline in the Telegraph yesterday that recalled criminals already outnumber new prison inmates. So those that you are releasing early, some of whom you've just mentioned, well, potentially just being recalled back into prison in a few weeks or months' time.
Well,
and we're back at the same...
This is part of the cycle. So, you know, they may say that this is them trying their best to both sort of protect the prison system from collapsing and getting too full, where you actually don't have any more prison space and prison spaces. But it will just continue in a cycle, which is unbelievably depressing, really, isn't it?
It is a bit.
Yeah,
Sally,
it is.
Thank you. We'll see you in the next hour.
Right, it is coming up to 12 minutes past 6, and it's time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Marjorie and I'm a Baptist leader in Sheffield. One day Jesus asked his closest friends, "Who do people say that I am?" They listed the opinions they had heard. Some thought he was a great teacher, others believed he was a prophet. Everyone seemed to have an opinion. And then Jesus turned to the disciple Peter and made it personal. It's recorded in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 16, but what about you? Who do you say that I am? And Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Peter wasn't repeating something he had heard from others. He had come to recognize that Jesus wasn't simply another inspiring leader. It wasn't information, it was revelation. Jesus responded by saying that Peter hadn't figured this out by human understanding alone. God had opened his eyes to see the truth. That is encouraging because faith isn't reserved for people with all the answers, nor is it reserved for the intellectuals or the religious. They are not the ones who necessarily come to know God. It begins when we become open to seeing Jesus for who he really is. Many people today admire Jesus. They appreciate his teachings about love and forgiveness and caring for one another. He is widely recognized as the world's greatest teacher, even by his critics. But Jesus never asked if people admired him. He asked who they believed he was. And that question still reaches out across centuries. The invitation of Christianity isn't simply to adopt a new religion or become more moral. It's to know a person. The same invitation remains open today. You don't have to have every answer to every question before you begin exploring who Jesus is, but eventually his question becomes yours to answer. Who do you say that I am? And the response to that question has the power to shape the course of our lives.
And that's Marjorie with our daily reflection on this Thursday morning.
I think it's really important, that idea of not having all the answers.
You don't need all the answers.
No, it's asking the questions that matter. Anyway, at 14 minutes past 6, local people in Atherton are furious about proposals which could see warehouses built on greenbelt land at the very heart of their small town.
Yes, if given the green light, the buildings would be up to 90 feet high from road level and within just metres of some homes.
Well, our national reporter Sophie Reaper sent this exclusive report.
A nightmare in concrete. This is the daily reality for hundreds of residents in Astley. Yet, despite Wigan Council saying they've learned from what happened here, could it be set to happen all over again, just 5 miles down the road?
They've destroyed people's lives. It's like they've had a bereavement. And me, as the local councillor for this area, I don't want this happen to my constituents. I've seen the pain within these people's eyes, like I say, a few miles down the road, and I don't want that pain in these people's eyes here.
According to proposals, developers would build warehouses which, in places, would stand more than 90 feet above road level and just 30 metres away from people's homes. They're also planning to build 550 new houses here at Gibfield, and although brownfield sites do exist in the area, building would take place across 80 hectares of greenbelt land, which is also recognised as rare wetland, home to many species of important wildlife.
We're going to lose everything. You've got owls, bats, deer. You see the deer, they come up quite in the mornings, in early mornings, they'll be kind of close to the houses. And all this is going to be wiped out. I can't see how it's been left. You know, they've got all that, and all that is going to disappear for concrete.
Yet, despite them making the initial proposal back in 2024, this week Wigan Council has said they actually oppose building on greenbelt sites, with one councillor, Paul Kenny, giving the following statement. With Gibfield, we simply do not believe the proposals are appropriate, and we will make that clear through the consultation. The master plan requires the council's approval, and we cannot support it. However, the plans are still yet to be officially withdrawn, and for the local residents, they're terrified of what it could mean for life as they know it.
The impact on us all around here, the traffic, the noise, the pollution, everything, the wildlife especially, it'd be absolutely horrendous for us.
We want this green land for our future generations because it's slowly disappearing because of the government. They don't do it where they are. They do it where it doesn't affect them at all, and I don't think it's fair.
The countryside will be completely changed behind us. From having a rural landscape, it's going to be an industrial landscape.
Mental health will be affected greatly. So it's and it already is. You can see people, you know, getting really stressed out about things like this. It's just not fair ethically or morally.
Are we sick and tired of Labour not listening to us?
Yes! Yet, as support continues to grow, concern is also getting deeper that the project could be pushed through regardless.
They're just not listening. They're just not listening at all to what people want. And I won't have it on my watch. Prime Minister Burnham, Labour-run Wigan Council, these Labour mayors, Metro mayors in all these big areas, they're bothered about the money, they're bothered about big business, and it's not good enough. The people of this area do not want this. More importantly, we do not need it.
A petition has already been signed by more than 2,500 local residents, and they say they're prepared to fight this for as long as it takes. Sophie Reaper, GB News.
Well, GB News has approached the developers Peel Land for a comment, but yet to receive a response.
It's you can understand, can't you, why people are getting so upset about this sort of thing. And there seems to be a lot of it going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, these warehouses are important. You do, but why does it have to be there? Why does it have to be so close to housing?
Just
why does it have
meters.
To be... yeah. I mean, it's going to change the entire outlook of how you live your life if it's that close.
It changes the value of your home, makes it very, very difficult to sell. It's got so many other consequences.
There's plenty of brownfield sites which can be used. You know, former industrial sites. Use those first and then see where we are. Anyway, I'm sure you've got a view.
Yeah, let us know if you've been affected by that at gbnews.com/you'll say.
Right, time for a look at the weather with Annie.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier, though, further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding when we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas of these areas. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s here, so a very warm day indeed. It will feel humid as well into this evening once again. It's not until this weekend where we start to lose that humidity and warmth that you may have felt over the past few days. But a fine end to Thursday to come across more northwestern areas of Scotland with shelter from the easterly wind. A bit more in the way of clouds cloud across more northeastern areas of Scotland, northeastern England, seeing some of that heavy rain into this evening. A continued chance of heavy downpours into this evening as well across parts of Wales and central England. We could also see some heavy downpours across the southeast coast through the early hours of Friday. So a risk of some very heavy rain, but also some drier weather. You can see some drier gaps in the weather overnight tonight, and that will bring more cloud as well. Temperatures still on the high side overnight in the mid to high teens. We'll still feel quite humid to start the day on Friday, but fresher air is moving in for Friday from the north and west, and that will bring quite a fine day for parts of Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, it's going to be a bit of a mixed day. A risk of showers, a chance of some heavy rain through the day wherever you are. This bringing a risk of thunderstorms, but also some brighter weather, and we'll feel quite warm. But also the winds will start to pick up too, so do keep an eye on the forecast. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, Berlin could bolster Britain's nuclear shield. It's under new plans to end our reliance on America.
Bowl.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 6:24. Now, Germany is in talks with the UK to invest in our nuclear defence system.
Well, it comes under plans to strip Europe of its dependence on the US amid the rising threat from Russia.
Well, Germany hopes to bolster existing nuclear power systems, such as Trident, as NATO leaders fear that the US could withdraw from the alliance at any given day.
Well, European security fears have been heightened after the CIA director, John Ratcliffe, made an unexpected visit to Moscow.
Well, it's understood talks were held between US and Russian military counterparts after reports that Russia would attack a NATO ally to test the alliance's strength.
So, is Europe capable of handling a Russian attack? Is maintaining support for Ukraine worth the potential risk?
Well, let's speak now to former senior military intelligence officer Philip Ingram. Very good morning to you, Philip. So much to go through. Let's start with Germany being in talks to fund Trident. What would this mean for Britain?
Well, I think this would mean that Britain is not paying as much money for the Trident nuclear deterrent that has always been allocated as a deterrent to NATO for NATO countries to use alongside the US nuclear deterrent. France has got its own, but it's only very recently that it is suggested it may offer it to its European partners. It's always kept it as a completely national system. So it's right and proper if the UK can get funding for something we've been offering to NATO that is so expensive, if we can get that funding to help ease the burden on UK taxpayers.
I mean, would it in any way alter how it's controlled, how it's deployed?
I don't think so. It's already been offered to NATO. It is controlled under, to a degree, under a NATO command and control system, but that's overseen then by a UK system. So it's always going to be a UK system. There's always what's called a national red card when it comes to any military capability that's been assigned to NATO. So I think this is more a recognition that you're relying on the Americans to provide this deterrent umbrella through their nuclear deterrent is not as reliable as it used to be, given Donald Trump is now president, and therefore European NATO members investing in other European nations. And it wouldn't surprise me if Germany's been in talks with France as well, will provide that additional security.
Can we talk about this meeting on Tuesday, this very mysterious meeting between the CIA director heading to Moscow to talk with Russian officials? Do we have any idea what was spoken about at that meeting?
We don't. There's been no official statement, which is very interesting indeed, apart from the Kremlin spokesman, Peskov, who turned around and said that John Radcliffe, the director of the CIA, didn't meet Vladimir Putin. He did meet his intelligence counterparts. And that's been backed up by news reporting in the Wall Street Journal. What they talked about, Peskov refused to say. There's some speculation this morning in the Wall Street Journal that it was to warn the Russians not to attack into Europe. And of course, there's been US intelligence reports over the last weeks suggesting that the Russians may be considering an attack into the Baltics or other areas of Europe. I don't think that attack would necessarily be a conventional military attack. It's more likely something in what we describe as the grey zone.
I mean, but with all of this, we have had an awful lot of threats coming out of the Kremlin over recent weeks. Why do we think that is happening at this stage?
Well, we've had lots of threats out of the Kremlin over recent years. The UK provided Ukraine the M-law anti-tank missile. The Russians were worried about that. Whenever we were the first country to provide main battle tanks, the Russians threatened up to nuclear response to that. They did the same when we provided the Storm Shadow air-launched cruise missiles. They did the same whenever we led a consortium to get the F-16s delivered to Ukraine. It's all been a lot of hot air coming out of Moscow. But there's something a little bit more serious behind this, which is why John Radcliffe went in. This is only the second time since the beginning of the war in Ukraine that a director of the CIA has gone in, and this is a very, very strong message. The time beforehand was literally just before the Russians invaded Ukraine, when the CIA director went in to try and tell them not to do it. They clearly didn't listen. So there's something serious going on, and the fact that a lot of it's been quiet is just emphasising that.
OK. Philip, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for your analysis.
Thank you.
All right. Don't panic. We'll get all the details on that. I mean, it's obviously an ongoing and developing story, but we'll bring you more as and when we have it. But in the meantime, at exactly 6:30, it's time for your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A35 is closed after the A31 and the A303 is closed after the A358. The A47 eastbound is closed after the A15. The M56 is closed between junctions 2 and 3 in Sharston, and the M6 southbound has an obstruction between junctions 23 and 22 in Winwick. In Scotland, the M8 westbound off-slip at junction 27 in Arkleston is closed. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway Services are running a temporary reduced timetable on services, and London Overground has a reduced Mildmay line service. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us still to come. Aidan's here with all your sport.
Yes, indeed. Loads of Carabao Cup action to get through last night. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, under renewed pressure. And what next for Luke Little after 2 defeats in a row? It sounds like a disaster. More after the break.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your views.
Just to be clear, my viewers are frustrated.
Your voice.
Lots of you guys getting in touch.
Your perspective.
Before these two will start fisticuffs.
Your issues.
What is the official party line?
Your concerns.
Do you agree with that?
Your show.
Are you keeping up? Good.
I'm so excited to be back this Tuesday at 6 p.m. Jubes & Co. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Aidan's got the sports, 6:34 morning.
Good to see you, mate.
What a night for Tottenham last night in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, on the face of it, it looks pretty good. 5-1 against Charlton, first win of the season. Savio, who he's been renamed Savio from Savinho, because apparently he prefers that. He's been shortened. But anyway, that's by the by. We'll hear from Roberto De Zerbi next hour. But, yeah, look, you might say it's only the Carabao Cup, 5-1, etc., but they are through to the next round. They've got Liverpool next. Just a word on Charlton, though, because I just think that...
Yeah, what happened with them?
Well, look, they won at West Ham on Saturday, right? Big game for them. West Ham totally underestimated them. There's only a Blackwall tunnel separating them. Good result for them. So they're hoping to back it up by going to Tottenham last night. Big occasion for them because they're in the Championship. They made a very good start. start. The fans, I think there were some reduced price tickets, but a good 5,000 or 6,000 of them would have made the journey to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last night, Ellie. And they saw their side hammered, but it wasn't the side they saw on Saturday. They made 10 different changes from the side that won. And I just think that sometimes these clubs have a responsibility not to make, yes, sure, make changes. Your squad is there for a reason. In the EFL, you play 46 matches as opposed to 38 in the Premier League, so you've got a heavier workload. And we'll hear from Nathan Jones in a moment. But this was his justification for making those changes last night. Let's hear what he had to say.
They're a distraction we don't need, because it's very difficult to create an upset now with the Premier League. I mean, you look at them, they can make 11 changes or how many changes they make, and then they're bringing on a World Cup winner, an 80-odd million pound play. It's impossible to compete with these now, you know what I mean, in terms of that. You can have a go, you can shoot, but that's the difficult thing. I had about 5-6 academy products. I got a keeper that played for Gateshead last year. We got Nathan Asimwe that's never made an appearance for us really in terms of stuff. So those are the levels. But this is a game we had to get through without any injuries, and that's a disaster.
Aidan, tell us more about his reasoning, because many fans will feel as though he's played a weakened side last night.
Look, it's no doubt it's a weakened side. There are 10 changes. Look, as I said, you have to use the squad, but it's the league that gets these managers, that keeps them in a job. As he said there, he's absolutely right in his reasoning. And if you look at facts versus emotion, then I think I'm on side with him. He was at Southampton in the Premier League 3 years ago, Ellie. One of his best results, he had a torrid time there, to be honest. He just wasn't up to the level, and I think he will be in future, but he wasn't at the time. He's a very capable manager. He's done good jobs elsewhere. But they beat Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. It was the only competition Man City got knocked out of that year because they won the treble famously. It was a brilliant result, but the form wasn't there in the league. A month later, he lost his job. So you have to look at your options. You have to look at your resources. And yeah, the Charlton fans will be a bit cheesed off because they travelled in great number to a big night last night. And as he said, it was a big stadium. But I can understand his reasoning if you look at things in the colder light of day. If they win on Saturday, trust me, all will be forgiven because that'll be 3 wins in a row at the start of the Premier League. If they get into the Premier League and they get all the riches that come with it, then they can think about going to big grounds and naming all their top players.
Yeah. All right, can we talk about Jack Grealish?
Yes.
Where's he heading? Is he going back to Villa?
Well, there's a tug-of-war between 3 sides because Sunderland have made a bid to take him on loan. Everton, where he was for half of last season, he's somebody who does need... I'm not going to say kick up the backside. That's unfair because he was injured last season. He did have a good first half of the season with Everton, but his career certainly needs a little bit of reigniting. Now, it's interesting because City, where he's currently at, there's a situation there that the manager going back there was previously a coach at City and apparently had a good relationship with Grealish, and he's not averse to the idea of keeping him there because he brought him on in the second half of the Community Shield. But Sunderland are ambitious. They've made a bid to take him on loan. Everton wants him back, but the emotional tie would be Aston Villa. They're losing players left, right and centre now. I mean, they've lost Tielemans in the summer, Rodgers, Konsa, Dean, all going to top clubs. Martinez, the goalkeeper, could be the next to go to Chelsea today if they can get a deal done. Ollie Watkins as well. I don't know what you think of this. I mean... To me, it's fairly obvious. He's 30 years old. Everyone's saying, well, he's deserting a sinking ship. But if you're 30 years old and you're offered £400,000 a week in Saudi for 3 years, don't forget, if you stay there for 2 years and you don't come back within that 24-month period, it's tax-free. Surely you've got to go. It's not like Ivan Toney, who was in his prime at the time and was kind of a little bit younger, had more to offer. I think that it just shows that the pool of Saudi, you cannot ignore it now, not when those kind of sums are involved.
No, you certainly can't.
And let's just have a look at Infantino. He's not been out of the news, has he?
No, he hasn't. I'm surprised he's endured, actually, this far, because it was certainly a silly season story, in my view, because that was a back-page story on the front page, owing to the fact there wasn't a great deal else going on. But look, he has already given assurances that he's not going to sell off parts of the World Cup. And UEFA, who are the European governing body as opposed to FIFA, which is the world governing body, they're saying that they're going to row back on their plans to go ahead with an alternative World Cup. Well, blow me down with a feather. I mean, how on earth can you come up with an alternative World Cup? What would you call? Have you got any idea what you call an alternative World Cup?
Global Cup.
The Global Trophy. Yeah, it sounds naff, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
In fact, it's set up for having a sponsor, which the World Cup never has. I think UEFA's problem here is that they've acted pathetically throughout this ordeal. They had 10 days to get him out. They didn't manage to do it. They started making up, or throwing, I'm not going to say made up, but they were certainly briefing behind the scenes about him having extramarital affairs while he was at FIFA. Some of these allegations go back 20 years, as if that's going to be enough to unseat him from his position. This is the problem. UEFA are not as popular as they think they are around the world, and that's part of the reason he's hanging on and may continue to do so.
OK. Aidan, thank you.
Right, it's time for the Great British Giveaway now, and it's our biggest of the year so far.
Your chance to win a brand new four-berth motorhome worth £75,000. I think lots of people are very excited about that.
Oh,
one.
yes.
Plus 35 grand in tax-free cash. Here are all of the details that you need.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Your chance to win £110,000 in prizes. Our biggest giveaway of the year so far. First, we want you to drive away in this. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new four-berth motorhome. The McClue Fusion comes fully loaded with all of the home comforts you'd expect. Built-in modern kitchen, bathroom, fridge freezer, and it's worth £75,000. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save, or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome. This incredible prize package is exclusive to GB News. You won't see it anywhere else, so make sure you don't miss out.
For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. We may call the winner live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. It's a great prize.
Yeah, it really is. Now, do stay with us. We'll be going through the papers with Kai Wilshaw and Candice Holdsworth. That's up next. Morning, you two.
First, though, here's your European forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The weather's a bit more mixed across parts of Europe as well as in the UK. Intense thunderstorms across some central areas of Europe. Wetter weather affecting the west as well into parts of Portugal and Spain. That's thanks to low pressure being close by. Temperatures close to average here, but it's for southern areas of Italy towards the Mediterranean where the heat wave is ongoing. Temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s across parts of the Mediterranean. It will tend to cool off a little bit as we head towards the weekend, but remains dry and sunny. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
The 19th century opera composer Richard Wagner has been accused of virulent anti-Semitism and of inspiring Adolf Hitler. What is the truth in those accusations? A new book painstakingly researches what Wagner wrote and said and what he didn't write and say.
I was really guided to the title of my book by an article by Dominic Lawson on the occasion of Wagner's 200th birthday. It argued that we should go on listening to Wagner, but the headline was Hitler's favourite composer was a monster. And various facts were alleged in support of this. That Wagner believed in a German master race, that his views influenced Hitler.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
What is rosé wine? How does it get that colour?
So the colour is from the red grapes. It's made with either white or red grapes, and it's left to macerate or steep, so you get a little bit of that red grape colour, but not so much that it's a red wine.
It's called The Pale Rosé by Sacha Lichine. Where does this come from?
This is from Provence. So this is the sort of sibling little sister of a very famous rosé, and so they're making the same thing, but I find it sort of lighter, easier to drink, more fruity, and I think I prefer it. So it's delicious, really.
Oh, that is deeply delicious. Very drinkable, isn't it?
It is.
You go on all afternoon with that.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Royal Navy was the most powerful navy in the world at that time. That was really the bigger ships, the sort of capital ships they're called. When it came to small ships, we really weren't. And especially minesweepers, there was something like 30 sweepers to protect 20,000 miles of coastline. So Churchill, as First Lord of the Admiralty, realised quickly something needed to be done, and he mobilised what became known as the Royal Naval Patrol Service, rather a dry name. But he requisitioned 200 trawlers, deep-sea trawlers from Grimsby, Hull, all those big sort of fishing ports, and their crews. And they were fish holes were turned into mess decks. Fishing nets were removed, replaced by sweeping gear.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast at 6:46. We're going through the papers this morning with Kai Wilshaw and Candice Holdsworth. Morning, you two. Kai, let's start, shall we, with Meta. The tech giant pays $17 billion over child harm.
So this massive settlement that Meta's paid, essentially to avoid Mark Zuckerberg testifying in trial, of course, very handy, isn't it? And they're now going to restrict in different ways how kids use Instagram and Facebook during school hours and at night. This is obviously following, I don't know if you've followed, there's been a book out, there's been all sorts of drips and drabs coming out over the last many years, in fact, whistleblowers giving evidence that the company knew of the damage that these apps, as designed, could do to kids and, frankly, to adults, but they did nothing about it. Some of the features some of this evidence found is almost as addictive as online gambling or cigarettes. And so campaigners against Meta have taken a leaf out of the same playbook, out of the playbook that campaigners took against big tobacco in the 90s, and have really been hammering at it. I think this is totally right, because I've said for years, right, what we've seen in the last 2 decades is the best engineering talent in the world, all concentrated in Silicon Valley, working on one thing, not saving lives, not trying to solve cancer, but trying to figure out how to make your screen as addictive to stay on as possible to make money for these tech giants. So it's about damn time, and I think a reckoning is overdue.
I mean, it's £13.2 billion. I mean, it's an unbelievable amount of money they've agreed, which just goes to show, actually, there is something they really didn't want to have in court on this one.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg wanted to testify. I mean, that would be huge news and very bad for the company. I think it's amazing to me to see that the cultural shift from the techno-utopianism of the 2010s, where everyone was sort of hailing this technology, to now, where I think that there's a lot more pessimism and a lot more negativity around it. I'm all for, though, parents having more control over this kind of stuff. I mean, I only let my children use YouTube Kids, which doesn't have infinite scrolling, which doesn't have likes. I mean, all of this stuff is really, really, really important, and more controls, the better.
Yeah, but we've fallen out on this, haven't we, before? We've had a bit of a Barney, me and Candice, on the role of parents in all of this with technology. And I do think that part of the problem is we're all, to some degree, addicted to our phones. And so when there are questions around, oh, where were the parents? You see that in so many stories these days, including the joyriding ones that we've seen in the last few days, right? People ask, where were the parents? Well, frankly, we're all as bad as each other. And these things were designed to be addictive.
Well, I would agree. We are all as bad as each other. The difference with this and what seems to have come to light is the fact, yes, as adults, we can get a bit hooked on it all. We can change our behaviours. But for children, it seems to be altering. And the experts say it is altering brain chemistry. It is altering how they live their lives in the future. So it really does need to be tackled one way or another.
Yeah, but I think the shift, for me, it's always the shift always has to happen with parents. I think it is happening. I think millennials, we are much, much, much stricter with this kind of thing. We were given a lot more freedom, actually, interestingly enough, but we're different. We are less optimistic or naive about it. It's always ultimately philosophical for me, though. It's the family versus the state. Where is the power? Is the power with parents or is it with the state? And I would always say give the power to families.
Yeah.
That's the most important
But so many
thing.
parents are just out of their depth, aren't they, Candice, and they don't know what they're up against. This settlement does mean that teenagers in most of the US now not able to access Facebook and Instagram between midnight and 6 a.m. and notifications are going to be silenced between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m, so a school day. The UK government has said that they've been monitoring this case really closely. Do you think they're going to ask similar of Meta? Or very similar?
Potentially. I thought that the government, under Keir Starmer at least, was considering bringing those types of restrictions in. I think it was lambasted at the time, but doesn't look so silly now, does it? I mean, I think many governments are wondering exactly what Candice has just talked about. Is it to appropriate use of state power, and will it work? Will it just be a lot of effort for nothing? And that's what lots of them are looking over to the Australian social media ban. I know that Kanishka Narayan, the AI minister, visited there in the last few months to see how it's working. It's not the end of this story. There will be back and forth trying to figure out what intervention actually works to try and curb the most harmful activity on social media apps and on smartphones by kids.
All right, can we have a look at the Mail, please, Candice, and looking at the flooding, the flash flooding in Nepal. I mean, the pictures are unbelievable. I mean, they're absolutely terrifying.
Yes, I mean, I saw the images yesterday of Nepal and of people just running futilely from this just giant wall of water. I can't imagine what it must feel like to have lost loved ones in this. I mean, in this Daily Mail article, people have been quoted saying, "My wife's in the mud. I don't know if I'll find her." I mean, it's human beings when we feel that are most fragile against something like this. I mean, we're not totally sure what's caused it yet. There's been speculation that it was the collapse of a glacier. Obviously, other people have said that it's to do with the climate. We need to start managing our flooding better. But I think for those people caught up in this right now, it's just the worst possible thing. And what we do know is that there is a British tour group that was travelling the Nepal-Chinese border, and they're all missing, including a young teenage girl.
Because it's a really popular pilgrimage route there, isn't it?
Yes.
So the last contact with them was at the border, and then we've seen these devastating pictures and footage of this 30-foot wall of rock and mud and freezing water. You can't even imagine, can you, Kai?
No. It's something that we see in films, isn't it? But let's not treat this as a film. I think that, Candice, you're right. What you spoke about a bit was the helplessness. But we do need to try and have these conversations when tragedies like this do happen. I think it is the appropriate time to say, well, hang on, what is causing this? And experts have been saying for a long time that in a warming Himalayas, things like this are going to happen more often. But similarly, throughout the summer, we've had other horrifying instances just here in this country, especially with fires. Who knows what the winter will bring? I don't mean to be alarmist, but we do need to try and get out of that helplessness frame of mind, don't we, as best we can, and try to adapt to this changing climate as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this stuff is just beyond horrifying. Let's have a quick look at the Telegraph, Candice, they're sort of rather tongue-in-cheek looking at Meghan's next big role.
Yes. So, the shock move to Britain. How are the Sussexes going to adjust to their new life? Like you say, the author of this piece has said that, Meghan's now going to have to do the school run and she's going to be managing her As Ever brand from England. One thing I did wonder, though, is there going to be a bit of a rebrand? Because it was sort of all about California.
It only ships the US at the moment.
Very interesting. So how's it going to become more English?
Yes, I don't know.
You can see it could. English jams, English honey.
Yeah,
we'll have to do something.
It's a saturated market, isn't it? We have lots of good jams and honey here.
Yeah, well,
so I don't know.
All right, you two, thanks very much indeed. See you later.
Here's your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier, though, further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding where we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas of these areas. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s here, so a very warm day indeed. It will feel humid as well into this evening once again. It's not until this weekend where we start to lose that humidity and warmth that you may have felt over the past few days. But a fine end to Thursday to come across more northwestern areas of Scotland with shelter from the easterly wind. A bit more in the way of cloud across more northeastern areas of Scotland, northeastern England, seeing some of that heavy rain into this evening. A continued chance of heavy downpours into this evening as well across parts of Wales and central England. We could also see some heavy downpours across the southeast coast through the early hours of Friday. So a risk of some very heavy rain, but also some drier weather. You can see some drier gaps in the weather overnight tonight, and that will bring more cloud as well. Temperatures still on the high side overnight in the mid to high teens. We'll still feel quite humid to start the day on Friday, but fresher air is moving in for Friday from the north and west, and that will bring quite a fine day for parts of Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, it's going to be a bit of a mixed day. A risk of showers, a chance of some heavy rain through the day wherever you are. This bringing a risk of thunderstorms, but also some brighter weather, and we'll feel quite warm. But also the winds will start to pick up too, so do keep an eye on the forecast. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A35 is closed after the A31, the A303 is also closed after the A358, and the A47 eastbound is closed after the A15. The M25 clockwise has an obstruction between junctions 5 and 6 in Sevenoaks. The M6 northbound has a lane closure between junctions 14 and 15 in Stone, and the M56 is closed between junctions 2 and 3 in Sharston. In Scotland, the A78 between Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street is closed in both directions. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway services are running a temporary reduced timetable, and London Overground is facing disruption on multiple routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome.
For a chance to win, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The battle to find dozens of British nationals missing and feared dead after flash flooding in Nepal.
Nepalese police say 157 bodies have now been recovered, with the death toll expected to rise. It says 33 UK citizens remain unaccounted for, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl.
Well, in total, 403 people are known to be missing, with rescue teams battling difficult terrain to try to reach survivors.
Elsewhere today, the killers of PC Harper will not be freed under the early release scheme. That's following the Prime Minister's pledge to do everything possible to keep Albert Bowers and Jessie Cole behind bars.
Berlin could bolster Britain's nuclear shield under new plans to end our reliance on America. Meanwhile, the CIA boss's motive for his secret Moscow trip is revealed.
Meta, the parent company of both Facebook, Instagram and indeed WhatsApp, has agreed a landmark settlement to pay up to $17 billion and change the face of social media for all teenagers.
Tim Curry, the legendary British actor best known for playing Dr. Frankenfurter in the cult classic The Rocky Horror Picture Show, has died at the age of 80.
Tottenham are off the mark for the season as they thumped an unrecognisable Charlton side 5-1 in the Carabao Cup last night. FIFA President Gianni Infantino, meanwhile, is under renewed pressure. And could Jack Grealish be heading for an emotional return to Aston Villa?
Good morning. A wet start across southern areas. That rain will push northwards throughout the morning, but there is a thunderstorm warning out for much of England and Wales. I will have all the details for you a little later on.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Right, we're starting with news that 33 Brits, including a 13-year-old girl, are amongst hundreds still missing after a massive flood swept through Nepal.
Look.
At least 165 people have now been confirmed dead. It's after a glacial collapse triggered flash floods and buried entire villages in mud.
Well, the Nepalese Tourist Board says 403 people are missing, including 33 Brits, 47 Americans, 34 Australians, 24 Canadians, with many caught up on a pilgrimage in Tibet.
Well, video footage from the region shows bridges being swept away and people fleeing uphill as the floodwaters surge through valleys.
Well, last night we spoke to a Nepalese PhD student, Ganesh Khadka, to get his thoughts.
As of now, I think there is no certainty whether it was a glacier burst or dam got burst out. Still, reports are not verified yet because it's extremely difficult to get access to those mountains. So I think it's a challenging time.
Yeah, indeed. And at least 157 dead. I mean, I don't like to say this, obviously, but you would imagine that death toll is probably going to rise significantly?
That is likely to be the case because as per the social media reports and all the news that I've been following throughout the morning and during the day, we can see the level of devastation. And I think there are so many missing cases throughout the day. A lot of people have been sharing the names of the family members in social media. So I think that number is likely to go high.
How difficult is this to get to for rescue teams? Is it, going to have to be a kind of a series of helicopters, etc., or are there other ways into this area?
it's extremely difficult because of the mountain terrain. Getting access to these people, the only way would be helicopters. And because of the weather condition, even the limited number of helicopters available for rescue operation, the chances of rescuing a mass number of people is going to be limited.
Well, let's speak now to weather forecaster Joe Wheeler, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Joe. Absolutely devastating footage coming out of Nepal this morning. What exactly caused this?
Well, it appears to have been a glacial avalanche, which is a vast area of water, mud, rock and ice, which collapses high up in the Himalayas. And in essence, it fills up the river courses and it creates a temporary dam, which is that when you then get this surge. So unlike flooding, say, from monsoon rains, where you might have days and days of warning, this happened very suddenly. And it's been assessed at the moment that the wall of water was moving at around 50 meters per second, which, I mean, that's impossible to outrun. To be honest, you know, it would have taken everybody by surprise. And as you mentioned, this route is one that's very popular with tourists and trekkers and pilgrims. That's why there are so many foreign nationals there at the moment. And then after that, because of the terrain, access and communication are at a premium. Communications are down in many places. And of course, as we just heard then, access as well.
Is this then down to, I mean, whatever the cause, but some sort of global warming, the fact that these glaciers are reaching a point of collapse?
This is or was a geological event. Could it be that a warming climate is helping to melt the glaciers in the Himalayas? Possibly, but I mean, there is so much to look at the moment. Initially, it was thought that this was triggered by an earthquake. Indeed, there was 5.2 seen on the Richter scale. It turned out not to be that. It was the avalanche itself that showed up in a seismic activity. So I think so many things need to be looked at and unfortunately looked back at, which will be the case.
How rare is something like this to happen, Joe?
Well, I don't think any of us can remember anything like this in living memory. I mean, there are natural tragedies all over the world at various times, whether it be the weather, be it geological like this, whether it be an earthquake. If we could forecast it, we would. But unfortunately, you know, you really can't say. If it does turn out that it's a warming climate that helped those glaciers to collapse, then obviously that is something to be looked at because of the terrain there, because you've got these deep Himalayan valleys, because you've got infrastructure which will have been wiped out. We've already seen that bridges were taken out, buildings, hydropower stations. So I think in the aftermath of this, people are going to look back and say, OK, where is it safe to live? You know, what measures can we put into place so that something like this never happens again?
OK, Joe, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
7:07, and the Justice Secretary said he is confident that PC Andrew Harper's killers will stay behind bars. It's after the Prime Minister requested that they be excluded from the early release scheme.
Well, it comes as Alex Norris informed police chiefs that the 2026 Sentencing Act will now be amended, preventing those convicted of unlawful act manslaughter from getting early release.
Well, Jesse Cole and Albert Bowers will now likely continue to serve their full 13-year sentences without eligibility for parole.
Let's talk to Tally Fraser, commissioning editor and writer-at-large at The Spectator. Good morning. It's what the country's been calling for. It has to be said. It still begs the question, how was the system, the early release system, put in place without taking all of these things into consideration in the first place?
Well, it's a good point, because under backlash and pressure, Labour has already had to row back on various elements of the early release scheme. So they'd already agreed to exempt 1,000 rapists and child groomers from access to early release, but they hadn't done so on convicted manslaughter. Now they're looking at this secondary legislation, which allows for existing laws to be changed quickly, to exclude from early release rapists, child groomers, and this thing of unlawful act manslaughter, which would include Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole, PC Harper's killers. But you make a fair point, because this is not the only sort of section of the scheme where Labour continues to face pressure. Domestic abusers may still be eligible for early release, and I think Women's Aid have arranged a letter to be sent to Andy Burnham of more than 100 different organisations, basically saying that Labour's pledge to halve violence against women and girls is put at risk and directly contradicted by the early release scheme. So, yes, Alex Norris, the Justice Secretary, with this new legislation, may be able to avoid PC Harper's killers getting out early. They were set to be released only 7 years after killing PC Harper. But all these other crimes and criminals who are in prison, they're still going to be facing a lot of pressure from campaigners who don't want to see these people be released from prison before they were meant to be.
Yeah, there were figures out a few weeks ago now putting the estimate about 90,000 crimes will be committed as a result of the early release scheme. And then we had that headline yesterday saying that recalled criminals already outnumbering new prison inmates. So there is this fear that we are going to enter into a cycle of people being released early, people going on to commit crimes and then being recalled to prison. And that doesn't solve the problem that we found ourselves in, which is the prisons crisis.
No, not at all. If prisoners are being released only to go and commit further crimes, be rearrested and have to find a new prison spot for them, as you said, Ellie, it doesn't really do anything to solve the prison space crisis.
But then that highlights, doesn't it, the fact that there's a bigger fundamental problem, which is the funding of things like parole, where we know parole officers are actually, whether we have sympathy for prisoners who are out on parole or not, they are stretched to the absolute limit and therefore can't keep a proper check on those prisoners, former prisoners they're meant to be keeping an eye on.
No, definitely. And I mean, there are problems across the entire prison estate, much more than just a matter of space. So it's a lot for the new Justice Secretary, Alex Norris, to try and get to grips with. But I guess we'll see if he succeeds.
Well, he seems pretty confident that he has succeeded, Tally.
This one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, Prince Harry and Meghan have returned to the UK with their children for what's expected to be an extended stay, whatever that means.
Well, landing at Birmingham Airport at lunchtime yesterday, the Sussexes were met by their own private security team.
Well, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet are expected to start school in September as the family settles into a new UK base, which we think is probably in the Cotswolds.
Well, joining us now, GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker. Very good morning to you, Cameron. They're back.
Oh, they're back. Yes, that was a bit of a scramble yesterday, trying to confirm all the details. Yeah, GB News managed to basically track the private jet that they were on, flying from Van Nuys Airport, just to the north of Los Angeles, about 80 miles from their Montecito home. And they flew across the Atlantic and landed just before midday, as you said, into Birmingham Airport. We understand they weren't given any police protection. They have their own, as you say, private security team, some of which we believe were on the flight with them, some of which were already here, and then travelled to a location unknown. But as you said, it is looking increasingly likely that the Cotswolds is where they are going to be making their new home with Prince Archie, Princess Lilibet, and I have had confirmed the 2 dogs have come with them as well. The chicken's staying in Montecito, though. So, yeah, they're being well looked after, I'm told. Anyway, yes, so they obviously had a house, Harry and Meghan, there, following their wedding. They rented a private property in the Cotswolds, but they kind of abandoned it about a year later because paparazzi started putting drones up and filming their gardens, which clearly did not go down too well with Prince Harry. I suspect that probably isn't going to happen this time around. Archie and Lilibet expected to start a private day school in England next week, if not the week after, probably similar time to actually their cousin Prince George starting at Eton. So their spokesperson refuses to confirm that they've landed, even though it's pretty obvious that they're in the UK. I suspect that's because of security reasons and the advice they have been given, but I'm sure at some point we will see concrete proof that Harry and Meghan have arrived in the UK.
I wonder who's going to be to blame if this all goes horribly wrong, because, as you say, we don't know where they are. There's this whole issue with press and drones and all the rest of it. There is an interest in them, and yet we as the sort of great British public tend to say, well, we don't want to know a lot about we want them to live a quieter life, we want them to keep under the radar. But then we need to stop trying to film them with drones then, don't we?
Yes, and I suspect those kind of incidents aren't going to happen anymore. I suspect we've probably got a slightly better relationship with the British press, at least. You know, from Harry's point of view, he's going to be carrying out some public engagements probably in a couple of weeks' time with World Child and the Invictus Games. Meghan, as we know, is still in talks, as far as we're aware, to join the cast of The Gentleman Season 3, which Netflix confirmed, I think, 2-3 days ago, that is going to be happening.
Oh, right. So
that's
back on again.
Netflix, yeah, so Season 3 definitely happening. Whether Meghan's going to be taking part, well, that remains to be seen, because Tina Brown, the royal author, claims that those talks have ceased. There's a bit of conflicting information on that. It appears to be unclear. I think that particular claim is going to age very well or very badly, so I guess we'll find out.
So they're back without taxpayer-funded security for now, but we understand that this is being looked at.
Yes, so a risk management board was carried out at the end of July. The last time that happened was 2019. That is essentially the intelligence services gathering the information to assess the level of risk or threat against both Prince Harry, Meghan and the children. Those findings have been passed on to RAVEC, the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, made up of the Police, Home Office, Royal Household, intelligence officials and some others as well. They are in the process, we believe, of making a decision whether Harry or Meghan are entitled to taxpayer-funded police protection and to exactly what that looks like.
You see, what's interesting about that is you can understand them perhaps in the future coming to a decision saying, no, we don't actually think the threat is suitable. But on their first arrivals, perhaps you'd be a bit more cautious. The fact that they haven't been is quite interesting.
Well, last month they were here in the UK and they didn't receive taxpayer-funded police protection, and it seemed to go OK. They could fly in and out the country undetected. In fact, we didn't even know Meghan was in the country until Buckingham Palace, I think, confirms that she'd gone to meet the King with Prince Harry at Highgrove. So they can travel around, and indeed Europe, of course, with their private holiday home in Portugal. We didn't know that had happened until they'd left. Nonetheless, being here permanently is very different to the ad hoc, you know, a holiday that they go on or to meet the King. So let's see if that risk assessment has changed at all. I think from their perspective and for speaking to people close to them, I think the biggest threat to them is probably a lone wolf attacker rather than a full-blown kind of planned terror attack. But nonetheless, that's up to security officials, and it's very hard to find details of that.
Of course. Okay. Cameron, thank you very much.
Right, it is coming up to 17 minutes past 7. Let's have a look at the weather with Annie.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier, though, further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding when we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas of these areas. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s here, so a very warm day indeed. It will feel humid as well into this evening once again. It's not until this weekend where we start to lose that humidity and warmth that you may have felt over the past few days. But a fine end to Thursday to come across more northwestern areas of Scotland with shelter from the easterly wind. A bit more in the way of cloud across more northeastern areas of Scotland, northeastern England, seeing some of that heavy rain into this evening. A continued chance of heavy downpours into this evening as well across parts of Wales and central England. We could also see some heavy downpours across the southeast coast through the early hours of Friday. So a risk of some very heavy rain, but also some drier weather. You can see some drier gaps in the weather overnight tonight, and that will bring more cloud as well. Temperatures still on the high side overnight in the mid to high teens. We'll still feel quite humid to start the day on Friday, but fresher air is moving in for Friday from the north and west, and that will bring quite a fine day for parts of Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, it's going to be a bit of a mixed day. A risk of showers, a chance of some heavy rain through the day wherever you are. This bringing a risk of thunderstorms, but also some brighter weather, and we'll feel quite warm. But also the winds will start to pick up too, so do keep an eye on the forecast. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us, still to come. Meta's $18 billion reckoning. Facebook and Instagram are about to look very different for millions of teenagers. We're going to get into all of the details next.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
It's 7:22 and Meta has agreed to sweeping changes to Facebook and Instagram after settling a landmark US lawsuit over social media addiction for children.
Well, the tech giant will pay up to $17 billion over the next 10 years. It's after California and 28 other US states accused it of deliberately designing addictive products that harmed young people.
Well, under the new rules, under 18s will be limited to 2 hours a day on the apps, with feeds blocked overnight and notifications turned off during school hours.
Well, Meta also has to bring in stronger age verification and tougher safeguards, and says it now wants rivals like TikTok and Snapchat to follow suit.
Let's talk to founder and director of the Unplugged Coalition, Jennifer Powers. I know, Jennifer, that you don't like kids getting on this social media at all, but is this a step in the right direction?
Good morning. Well, this settlement in the US is really a vindication for the UK government taking a tough stance against social media here in the UK. Really pleased to see the sweeping changes that Meta has pledged to bring in on the back of this settlement. although it's only for the 29 participating states. But I think what we're looking at here in the UK goes even further. We're looking to ban children from having accounts until they're 16. And whilst these changes in the US are welcome, they don't go as far to protect children and teens as we're hoping to do here in Britain.
Do you think this has changed social media forever, Jennifer?
I think it's certainly an important milestone. I think that we are still in the midst of this huge transformational change around the interface between screens and children, the effect of addictive technology on growing minds. I think this is a really significant step for governments, I think, appreciating that, one, these platforms can do more, that they are incredibly harmful and dangerous, and that the platforms themselves know and acknowledge that. Secondly, that the platforms can do more to protect our children, and therefore that government can and should act. So hopefully it will really strengthen this government's desire to, fully implement the proposals that the last administration under Keir Starmer made, and actually not delay, because it shows that these sort of changes can be brought in fairly quickly. The first ones are coming into force in these 29 American states by Christmas, with other significant changes coming in February and March of next year. So there's no need for children to wait years and years for these safeguards. We know that these platforms are dangerous, and we know that the platforms can respond with safer services very, very quickly.
You see, this is what strikes me about all of this. There's been talk about them being dangerous for a long time, and the fear of saying that is that you're going to get sued and all the rest of it. The fact they are paying more than £13 billion to settle this, I mean, can you imagine putting that into our defence budget? It would change everything. It's such a vast amount of money, and that has to be seen, doesn't it? I mean, it might be out of court, but it has to be seen as an acknowledgement that what they are doing, and they have been aware that it has been dangerous to children and teenagers.
Well, you're right, Stephen. It is a significant amount of money, although in the scheme of how much they make, I believe Meta made $60 billion in profit last year. So it's something they can afford. But, if we talk about why they made the settlement, why did they make the out-of-court settlement? It's, they are very wary of having to disclose all of the information that would come out in a full trial. They don't want to have all of their secrets with regard to the algorithms and their knowledge of what those algorithms was doing to the health and well-being of children made public. One, just because of the reputational damage, but secondly, because that would, invite so many more lawsuits, although some may still come, but it would give future lawsuits greater likelihood of success. So they decided to cut their losses and settle, and they're now claiming the moral high ground, which is some of us may take with a pinch of salt, saying that they wish for other industry players to implement the same standards, because of course, if they're going to be disadvantaged commercially, they want their rivals to be disadvantaged in the same way. So we'll have to see how the likes of YouTube and TikTok respond.
OK, Jennifer Powers, thank you for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast.
I can't help but think if they're now wanting TikTok and Snapchat and all the rest of it to follow suit, and why don't they just then implement it everywhere? I mean, right across the United States, I mean, globally, if need be. If there is an acknowledgement that it is doing what people have claimed it is doing...
And it's causing harm, yeah.
Then why not just change it for everybody?
Well,
whether they will or not.
It is interesting, though, because I know it's a huge settlement. £13 billion we're talking about here. It's being described as a big tobacco moment. But the prosecutors were actually going for $1.1 trillion, I think it was, which would have been almost the entire value of Meta. So, in that sense, it's small money, small change to these companies. But it is an acknowledgement of something, isn't it? Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
Right, talking of money, though not that much in comparison, but it's still a huge amount of money to win. It's a Great British giveaway now, and you could win a 4-berth motorhome worth £75,000 plus 35 grand in tax-free cash.
Yes, here are all of the details that you need.
It's the biggest, greatest Great British giveaway of the year so far. It's your chance to win a whopping £110,000 prize package that comes in 2 terrific parts. You'll be able to explore Great Britain and beyond in this, your very own motorhome. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, this brand new McClure Fusion could be yours. It comfortably sleeps 4 with spacious lounge area for entertaining and fully fitted kitchen and bathroom. Plus, you can drive it on your standard driving licence. We'll also boost your bank account too with a further £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Make sure you don't miss out on this £110,000 prize package.
For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. We may call the winner live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, Aidan's going to be here with all your sport.
Yes, indeed, a big night of Carabao Cup action to reflect on. Gianni Infantino under renewed pressure as FIFA president, and a cheerful, hopefully anyway, update on the missing Premier League footballer.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M4 eastbound at junction 12 in Thiel has an incident. The M4 westbound between junctions 19 and 20 in Bristol has a collision. The M42 southbound at junction 3 in Redditch has an obstruction. In Scotland, the M8 westbound on slip at junction 27 in Arkleston is closed. Across Wales, the A55 from J24 Faenol to J23A Pensarn is closed with possible delays. And on the trains, East Midlands railway services are running to a temporary reduced timetable, with disruption on multiple London overground routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your views.
Just to be clear, my viewers are frustrated.
Your voice.
Lots of you guys getting in touch.
Your perspective.
Before these two start fisticuffs.
Your issues.
What is the official party line?
Your concerns.
Do you agree with that?
Your show.
Are you keeping up? Good.
I'm so excited to be back. This Tuesday at 6 p.m. Jubes & Co. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, Aidan's here with all the sport. What should we start with, Aidan?
Jack Grealish?
Oh, yeah, why not then? Because is he going back to Villa?
He could do. I mean, this is the thing. I think he's a player who just needs a bit of love. Because I do. And I think that he's got options on the table. So does he stay with his current girlfriend, which is Manchester City? Does he go back to a short-term ex, which was Everton last season? Does he go back to a long-term ex, Aston Villa? Or does he find love somewhere completely different, i.e. Sunderland? Either way, something's got to be worked out, because he's over 30 now. He's been around a long time. He hasn't done a great deal since Man City won the Premier League, won the treble with him in the side back in 2023. We saw those big celebrations, didn't we, all around Manchester? And I don't think Pep Guardiola was overly impressed by his conduct around them. But nonetheless, I think he's still got plenty to offer, and he could possibly even get back to playing for England.
Would there be an option for him in Saudi?
I would have thought so, yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked if those conversations hadn't happened. But I just think that he's got a bit to prove here. The Saudis like to sign players who are currently playing in the Premier League. Now, Ollie Watkins is one of those at Aston Villa. Aston Villa, this is the thing. If they bring Grealish back, because they've lost so many players, their supporters just need something to hang their hat on to get them infused again. They won the Europa League last summer, of course, but they're just losing players left, right and centre. Tielemans, Rodgers, Konsa, Dean. Watkins, though, you have to say, anyone would take this deal, wouldn't they? At the age of 30 years old, 400 grand a week. The first 2 years, as long as you don't return, then you get that tax-free. And I think that given what he's achieved at Aston Villa, even though he refused to play apparently against Brighton last week, I think anyone could see why he'd take that deal.
Yeah, well, you would. Yeah, you would.
Us three would, wouldn't we?
I would, definitely would. Can we have a quick look at this QPR player, or former QPR midfielder?
Akos Kozaki. 20 caps for Hungary, aged 44 years old. He was reported missing yesterday by Hungarian police in Budapest. Now, he'd not been seen for a week. I understand he's not currently with the mother of his two children. I don't think I'm breaking any confidences here. I know him quite well. I did know him quite well. He has suffered from depression at various times in his life. Fears were growing as to his safety, and there were questions around his whereabouts yesterday. There has been an update, albeit tentative, overnight from Hasni Al-Joffrey. He was a guy who played alongside him at Plymouth Argyle 20-odd years ago, and he said that, calm down, I've spoken to him, he's OK. I can't give you any more details at the moment. But if that's true, and I've no reason to doubt that, Al-Joffrey is a very respected guy. He was Manchester United youth team coach just a couple of years ago. Let's hope and pray that that's right, because Akos was an excellent guy. I knew him very well when he was down at Plymouth. We met on a night out in Revolutions in Plymouth. So not that I was very frequenting those places very regularly back then. I was covering Plymouth. But as I say, terrific fella, fantastic footballer. And if the news is correct this morning, let's hope he's safe and well, and he'll get back in touch with his family.
Well, let's hope he's been found safe, Infantino, we thought we'd heard the last, but we haven't.
No, not quite. But, well, he's still there. He's still hanging on.
Yeah?
He's hanging on to his position.
Yeah,
and,
but why are UEFA sort of... I mean, they're sort of backing down, aren't they, a little bit?
Yeah, because I think they realised a month ago during silly season, they had a 10-day window to get rid of him. They didn't do it because partly, Stephen, it's very, very difficult to unseat the FIFA president. He's the top man for a reason. Now, UEFA are saying they were coming out with all sorts of nonsense, weren't they? They were briefing the international media about his extramarital affairs that he supposedly had 15, 20 years ago. They said they were going to conduct an internal review of his conduct while he was at UEFA. This is before he was ever got involved with FIFA. I mean, that could be 20 years ago. Well, how does that affect his ability to... So if you're trying to unseat him, you've got to make a case that he's not doing a good job as the FIFA president. What's the point of dragging up all this stuff from 20 years ago? It was pathetic, quite frankly. And this is why UEFA are not popular globally. Lots of organisations or lots of federations around the world don't really like them. They don't know the way they conduct themselves. They're the most powerful of all the subordinate committees, and you have to look as well. Seferin, the guy who runs at UEFA, quite clearly wants Infantino's job, and that's part of the reason he's hung on here, because he knows that once the Premier League got underway, everyone's attention was switched to that, And I think that I don't think he's home and hosed, but I think he'll at least go until next March. And crucially, Stephen, he's making so much money for them. They turned over what $13.8 billion at the recent World Cup. So you know, I think money talks in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah. We can't let you go without talking about Tottenham.
Yes.
Because, I mean, after a 3-0 defeat, to get the words out, at the weekend in the Premier League, Carabao Cup 5-1 against Charlton. I mean, that's a turnaround.
Your knowledge is just it's unsurpassed these days. I mean, you know, are you talking to someone at Spurs these days?
I'm very in with
knowing their results.
I'm very in with Spurs.
Yeah, you are indeed. Well, look, as I say, they won. You're quite right. They won 5-1 last night, albeit against a very much changed Charlton side. I think some of those Charlton fans who went up to North London last night might feel a little bit shortchanged, given that they saw they didn't see the side that won at West Ham. They were, you know, I think if you're going to give up your midweek evening and go and watch your team from South London to North London, I think that you're entitled to see a few of the first team players. It wasn't to be for them, but Spurs are into the next round. They play Liverpool next, and let's hope for their sake that they've got some lift off for their campaign now.
Oh, let's hope so. Aidan, thank you very much.
Right, we've got the papers heading your way. In just a couple of minutes, Kai Wilshaw and Candice Holdsworth will take us through all the details.
But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The weather's a bit more mixed across parts of Europe as well as in the UK. Intense thunderstorms across some central areas of Europe. Wetter weather affecting the west as well into parts of Portugal and Spain. That's thanks to low pressure being close by. Temperatures close to average here, but it's for southern areas of Italy towards the Mediterranean where the heat wave is ongoing. Temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s across parts of the Mediterranean. It will tend to cool off a little bit as we head towards the weekend, but remains dry and sunny. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
In the public sector, buildings like schools and hospitals lack adornment, can be very clunky, can be very ugly, and they don't bear comparison with their equivalents, let's say, from the Victorian age. What do you think of that thesis?
I think, unfortunately, it's entirely correct. I mean, we can see it in some of the examples you talked about today. The one that really sticks in my mind, really there's two. Ones you see kind of every day, or certainly used to, post boxes and phone boxes, and in fact, for a third, water fountains. If you see the new water fountains in London, they're these strange plastic water droplets. We didn't used to build things like this. In fact, the water fountains themselves were once ornate. You had creatures in them, you had actual care taken over them.
GB News, the People's Channel. Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
Now, you don't want to miss this guest because she was once Britain's longest-serving female prisoner, dubbed the Black Widow. But Linda Calvi has since swapped life behind bars for life as a best-selling crime writer. My goodness. So you've done...
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about, because some people might not know about you, but you were dubbed as the Black Widow. Why is that?
I was dubbed as the Black Widow. The police said because all of the men in my life either ended up dead or in prison.
I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny.
No, it isn't. But that is me. And since I've been home, I mean, I went to prison for a crime I did commit. I got 7 years, and I deserved that sentence.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
We have to go back to 1964, when Congress decided to name Washington's National Cultural Center in honor of John F. Kennedy, the president, of course, who had been recently assassinated. As a result, his name was emblazoned on the building. Today, the centre is home to a vast concert hall, as well as an opera house and a theatre. This is the site of cultural events, televised events, gala dinners.
The centre is seen as a bastion of liberalism here in Washington, D.C. So what happened when Donald Trump became president for a second time in 2025? Well, in February, his second month in office, he decided to sack many members of the board of the centre behind me and replace it with his allies.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. It's 7:43. We're going through the papers this morning with the company of Kai Wilshaw and Candice Holdsworth. Morning, you two.
Hello.
Kai, let's talk about the front page of the Telegraph this morning, shall we? Germany in talks to fund Trident. Tell us more.
Yes, this is a fascinating story. I think we'll hear more and more of this in the next few years. So Germany is in talks to support our nuclear umbrella. It wants to integrate into France and Britain's nuclear deterrent rather than pursue its own bomb. So these are three-way talks that have been happening between the three countries. There's an incredible quote from a diplomatic source on the front of the Telegraph that says, policymakers are waking up each morning and asking themselves what on earth the Americans are going to do tomorrow. And that's where this has all come from. And it comes at a time, as we know, been following the stories, haven't we, where Russian aggression is on the up, where we've heard of secret bases where they can send high-powered drones into NATO territory. So this is all on the table for Germany. They're also looking at whether they could deploy air defence batteries in for the UK, for the UK's air defence in Faslane, for instance, where some of our submarines are based. I mean, it makes sense to me that the military powers of Europe are working together. We need to get something out of all of this. We really do. Well, it would be because we've been cut out of some of the loan programs that Europe has put together for the defence of Ukraine to reindustrialise its defence industry. The UK has been cut out of it.
So the argument would we be getting money out of them?
Yeah, of course, but
billions.
Yeah. Well, in terms of defence spending, it's quite good because a huge portion of the defence budget is spent on the nuclear deterrent.
6% on Trident, yeah.
Yeah, an enormous amount. Look, I still think that the NATO response is the biggest deterrent to any sort of aggression. America still needs to work very closely with Europe, I think. Without that, I think other powers would be emboldened.
But I suppose that, I mean, if Article 5 was started, then America would get involved. So the argument is that where Europe is just not doing enough to fund itself at the moment.
Yes, yeah, if you listen to anyone in the US State Department at the moment, that just seems to be the attitude. They don't want to totally decouple from Europe, but they feel like Europe's not stepping up.
Yeah, the US has taken an entirely different international posture compared to Trump term one, right? It's announced this new national security strategy that essentially says in Europe it will sort of meddle in elections to get its own way and to get a favourable government, we assume a right-wing government to support Trump policies. It's very open about that. Now, it's also called into question even more forcefully its membership of NATO. Yes, I think at the minute invoking Article 5 would mean US involvement, but what involvement would that look like? I mean, it's actually, nothing's off the table right now with Trump. He's willing to use the levers that America has, there's considerable ones, to his own domestic interests. And the worry is that he uses diplomatic and international crises to try and win elections and win popularity back home.
Well, doesn't any politician do that?
Yeah, but he takes it to the max, doesn't he? Launching tariff wars and trade wars in order to get specific concessions that benefit his own sort of boondoggles and prefer odd policies that he's obsessed with, rather than taking a more holistic, sensible view informed by diplomats and his experts across the world.
Candice, is there a concern with all of this move to reduce Europe's reliance on the US with all of this, that yes, we're in charge of Trident missiles, but they're not built by us, they're not serviced by us, and we can't build or maintain them because it's all done in the US.
Exactly. I mean, even a lot of the commitment to raise defence spending, much of the arms we would be purchasing would be by American manufacturers. I mean, they absolutely dominate in this field. Look, I think that America will always... Historically, it has always been the case that you sort of have the forces of American isolationism trying to pull America away from European conflicts, but in the end they are inexorably drawn back to us because we are part of Western civilization, and I think that is what I would always say.
Can we have a look at the Sun, Candice? The killers of PC Harper, the Justice Secretary says he's found a way to mean they're not involved in this new early release scheme.
So this is a very interesting story in The Sun, and I will say I was one of the people who was very sceptical about them finding a way to keep these two convicted killers of PC Andrew Harper in prison, though they say that Alex Norris, the Justice Secretary, says there could be a way of amending the early release scheme. So for people like them who have been convicted of unlawful manslaughter, they don't get released. I always thought, though, that once you've made a commitment to release somebody, you can't reverse that. But apparently, no, like there is not an ironclad commitment. So legally, they can amend the early release scheme to keep them in prison.
Right. I mean, it's welcome because we know it's what people in the country want.
Yes.
Right? And it frankly seems to be common sense. The problem is it's another sign of Labour being reactive, which is what they were criticised for under Keir Starmer.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, they're not being proactive on this.
The way I see it is, the early release scheme was planned as Andy Burnham Andy Burnham became Prime Minister, and then Alex Norris, of course, Justice Secretary. And what's happened since then is just, more and more has come to light, and they've tried further and further to find a way in what was already quite a constrained environment of what they can and can't do. Now, and then they've come back to it with, they'd announced that certain exceptions would be made, and now, in particular, the killers of PC Harper, they want to make sure that that is carved out as well. But they've had such a small window to do this.
What are we talking about? Osama Kai.
But this is the problem. Yes, in law, or you can't you can't revert. You were talking about can you reverse it? Can you not? The bigger question is, they wanted to do this as early as possible because the prison service, the probation service, also need time to work this out. We've had issues in the past where it's such a mess in there. We have Haddoush Kabatu being let out by mistake. He's now left the country, by the way, I found out recently. But things like this do happen. Mistakes do happen.
Well, yeah, but we had an early release scheme that had, rapists being able to get out, people convicted of this type of manslaughter being able to get out. We still have concerns about domestic abusers being able to get out. I mean, all the things which initially, when we were told that it would only apply to low-level offences.
There's no easy answers for Andy Burnham.
It's cobbled together legislation, it seems like.
Well, I think he was dealt a bad hand, frankly, by Keir Starmer. Maybe some of these details weren't worked out, but that's what I'm saying is they've had all summer, but actually the window to make those decisions, those difficult decisions, was much smaller because of the complexity of it. They needed to get as much of the details sorted in advance of the scheme. The early release scheme starting, else it would be chaotic. And we know that a chaotic start to it could end to even worse outcomes than what we've seen already.
Kai, can we stay with you, because this one's just caught my eye. Peter Murrell's downfall is going to be made into a Shakespearean TV drama.
Yes.
In The Guardian this morning.
Yes, apparently the so-called epic tale. I don't know who's calling it the epic tale of Nicola Sturgeon and Peter Murrell's travails is set to be made into a TV drama. I mean, I sort of think it would be more appropriate for a sort of QVC style show, where they get all the things that he had in the house and they sort of shop it off to the highest bidder. There's lovely pens, all the coffee machines. It's a coffee machine for every person across the UK, it seems like. I mean, I do wonder whether it's necessary to make every contemporary scandal into a TV
drama.
show.
That's what I think, Candice. Do you go with that?
I mean, it sounds more like a recipe for satire than a drama. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It probably will. I mean, the title suggests that it's going to be pretty cheesy. So.
Yeah.
What are they thinking of calling it?
The epic tale.
I mean, they always end up being a bit naff, don't they? And they also allow for choices and judgments made by telly people to inform current debate and allow redemption for people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Candice, thank you very much.
Right It is coming up to 7:34, time for the weather with Annie.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier though further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding where we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas of these areas. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s here, so a very warm day indeed. It will feel humid as well into this evening once again. It's not until this weekend where we start to lose that humidity and warmth that you may have felt over the past few days. But a fine end to Thursday to come across more northwestern areas of Scotland with shelter from the easterly wind. A bit more in the way of cloud across more northeastern areas of Scotland, northeastern England, seeing some of that heavy rain into this evening. A continued chance of heavy downpours into this evening as well across parts of Wales and central England. We could also see some heavy downpours across the southeast coast through the early hours of Friday. So a risk of some very heavy rain, but also some drier weather. You can see some drier gaps in the weather overnight tonight, and that will bring more cloud as well. Temperatures still on the high side overnight in the mid to high teens. We'll still feel quite humid to start the day on Friday, but fresher air is moving in for Friday from the north and west, and that will bring quite a fine day for parts of Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, it's going to be a bit of a mixed day. A risk of showers, a chance of some heavy rain through the day wherever you are. This bringing a risk of thunderstorms, but also some brighter weather, and we'll feel quite warm. But also the winds will start to pick up too, so do keep an eye on the forecast. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M3 eastbound is affected by a collision between junctions 3 and 2 near Thorpe. The M25 clockwise is affected by a collision between junctions 2 and 3 near Darrenth. The M4 eastbound has an incident at junction 12 in Thiel. In Scotland, the A78 is closed in both directions between A78 Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street. Across Wales, the A55 from J24 Faenol to J23A Pensarn is closed with possible delays. And on the trains, cross-country and East Midlands railway services are facing disruption and a reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the biggest, greatest Great British giveaway of the year so far. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, this brand new McClure Fusion could be yours. We'll also boost your bank account too with a further £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like.
For a chance to win, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think GB News is completely unique in the way that we interact with our viewers.
Our audience aren't afraid to have their say. They want their voices heard now, and they've got a channel where that can happen.
I find more and more as I'm wandering around, people come up to me and they say, "We saw you on television." I say, "Oh yes, on what?" "On GB News." "Hello, are you the famous Sue?"
The whole crew with me here now. We came to celebrate. It's our job to be the eyes and ears of the viewers.
They are part of the GB News family, and I'm pleased to say it's a very large family.
And if people go to the time and trouble of listening and watching, then we've got to do a good job for them.
Well, I'm here, right in the epicentre of the protest.
Here we go again. You just tuned in. Where have you been?
It is raucous here tonight.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning. The battle to find dozens of British nationals missing and feared dead after the devastating flash flooding in Nepal.
Well, Nepalese police say at least 165 people are dead as 33 UK citizens remain unaccounted for, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl.
Well, the latest figures suggest more than 800 are missing in Nepal, with rescue teams battling very difficult terrain to try to reach survivors.
Elsewhere today, the killers of PC Harper will not be freed under the early release scheme following Andy Burnham's pledge to do everything possible to keep Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole behind bars.
Well, it's only 2 or 3 weeks since the government seemed to accept that they couldn't keep these killers behind bars, but they seem to have found a way. I'll bring you what that way is shortly.
Berlin could bolster Britain's nuclear shield under plans to end our reliance on America.
Screen limits, blocked feeds, silenced notifications, Meta's $17 billion shake-up of Facebook and Instagram for American teenagers.
Tim Curry, the actor best known for playing Dr. Frankenfurter in the cult classic The Rocky Horror Picture Show, has died at the age of 80.
From hippos to penguins, it's weigh-in week at the zoo. We're going to be live at the annual checkup as it gets underway.
We are just a couple of days out from one of the fights of the year. Moses Atama aims to become the youngest winner of the world heavyweight title since Mike Tyson in 1986 when he takes on Filip Hrgovic at London's O2. We're joined by promoter Frank Warren later this hour.
Good morning. A wet start across southern areas. That rain will push northwards throughout the morning, but there is a thunderstorm warning out for much of England and Wales. I will have all the details for you a little later on.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
OK, should we kick off this hour by talking to the Conservative Party? Helen Whately is the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary, and she joins us now. Good morning to you. It's nice to see you. I want to preempt the government slightly because we're going to be talking to the Work and Pension Secretary an hour from now, and they're really pushing this government jobs guarantee scheme that they're launching. They're getting it properly underway. 90,000 young people will be supported into work, they say, over the next 3 years, and the first cohort has actually started working at Boots, apparently now. This is something to welcome, isn't it?
for young people. But really what's going on here is that Labour has taxed businesses, added to red tape and reduced the opportunities for young people. So they have literally destroyed job opportunities for young people. Under Labour, we now have 1 million young people not in education and employment training. That's 1 million needs and tens of thousands fewer vacancies in the economy. And I speak to so many businesses who say to me that because of the higher taxes, the extra costs and actually the extra red tape as well, they are reducing their hiring of young people. And if they've got a choice between an experienced person and a young person, they're going to pick the experienced person because it's made it so hard for them to hire young people. So what Labour is doing is, I think, a big distraction exercise from those terrible policies that they've put in place, the damage they're doing to young people, by talking very loudly about this youth guarantee, in which they've taxed businesses and they're using some of that money to subsidise jobs and work experience for young people. So yes, of course, I welcome work experience, but actually what young people tell me again and again is they really want real jobs. What the government should be doing is backing business, getting out of the way so that businesses can create jobs and give real opportunities to young people.
Ms Watley, we're actually debating a little bit later on in the programme, but we're really interested to know your thoughts. Should we introduce conscription in order to manage the NEETs crisis in this country? As you say, 1 million young people out of work. We are living in this ever-dangerous world. Would conscription actually be a really good option for so many young people in terms of giving them a great career, this lifelong career that we've just been speaking about, giving them purpose, giving them drive, giving them a bit of national pride?
Now, when it's harder to get a job, you will see more young people applying to get jobs in the military and applying to join the military. But I wouldn't say that that is the big state answer to the problem is one that I would particularly go for. As I said, what we should be doing is backing businesses to hire people so they can go into the jobs and the careers that they really want. I've spoken to so many young people who are applying again and again for all manner of kinds of opportunities. They've often worked really hard, gained qualifications, and the problem at the moment is just because we've got such weak growth in the economy, coupled with these very high taxes on business and high cost of employing young people, those opportunities that young people want aren't being made available. So that's a way to go on it, to back businesses, have growth, and that will give young people the chances to get ahead. Also, that's really, really good for our economy. We want our businesses to be growing and making use of the talents of the next generation. That's a way for our country to be more prosperous and indeed more secure, because that means we've then got a strong enough economy to spend the money we should be spending on defence, which the government is not committing to.
Yes, but why so critical of this scheme then? Because if they are, I know if by hook or by crook they're getting people into work, it might not be the way in which you would necessarily do it. But if it is getting these young people into work, then that is going to benefit the economy, isn't it? It is getting these people out and supporting themselves, their families, and paying back into the economy. That is going to help us grow.
Money. So what the government is literally doing is it's put up taxes on businesses and then it's spending some of those taxes on work placements for people, particularly in big businesses. But rather than having that kind of circular way of the government then choosing how to spend people's taxes on placements in big businesses that they've reached agreements with, much better to have lower taxes on businesses so businesses themselves can create the jobs. It's just a classic Labour approach to a problem, which is that the government is the answer and that higher taxes is the answer and higher spending is the answer. No, the answer is lower taxes, lower government spending, and there to be more opportunities that the economy creates for young people in areas where businesses really know they actually need people and opportunities to grow, which can be long-term careers and have people really contributing to our economy. So the answer isn't more government and more taxes, it's actually less government and less taxes.
Can we talk about the Meta settlement in the US, this landmark settlement, £13 billion? It's been described as the big tobacco moment, and social media is now going to look very different for lots of teenagers, millions of teenagers in the US. They're not going to be able to see notifications. I think they've got a 2-hour time limit. They're not able to use makeup filters, that sort of thing. Whilst the government is now pushing ahead on this social media ban for under 16s, do you want them to demand the same changes here in Britain from Meta?
proof will be in the pudding on the effectiveness of Meta's commitment that they're making as part of this settlement. Looking through, it's a lot of commitments that they will change some of the default settings, but actually, if anything I know about teenagers, and I have 3 of them, they're very good at finding their way around default settings and changing them and getting their parents to change them, or using their parents' ID, things like that. So we will see whether actually what Meta is committing to makes a difference. I mean, they have certainly been very slow to come forward with even what they're saying today, and I think that's a real sign that the social media giants are having to be dragged to the table to step up and do something about social media harms for young people. On this, I'm sure you'll know, and your viewers will know, that Kemi Badenoch has been really leading the argument on this in the UK and really pushing that the government needs to step up and be much more robust on making social media safer for young people.
OK. Good to see you this morning, Helen Waitley. Thanks very much indeed. Let's turn our attention to what the government is saying it is going to do in regard to PC Andrew Harper's killers, because we're now being told they will stay behind bars after the Prime Minister requested they be excluded from the early release scheme.
Well, it comes as Alex Norris, the Justice Secretary, informed police chiefs that the 2026 Sentencing Act will now be amended to honour Harper's Law, preventing those convicted of unlawful act manslaughter from receiving early release. OK, let's talk to Catherine Forster, our chief political correspondent. Catherine, spell this out for us. How could this work? Because it's not long ago we were told that they may not be able to do anything.
Yes, it's only a few weeks ago that the government, understanding the uproar about this, made exemptions, but exemptions for rapists and child groomers, but basically said they'd gone as far as they could on this, and they seem to have accepted that these killers of PC Harper would still be eligible for early release. Then there was 1 million people signed a petition saying that this was not good enough, uproar from police chiefs, and the Prime Minister then asked the Justice Secretary to look again. Now, the Prime Minister told me a week ago that we will find out next Tuesday, when Parliament comes back, we will get the details in Parliament of what the plan is. But it sounds like they will be kept in, and it will be that people who've committed what's called unlawful act manslaughter will not be eligible for early release. So that is where you cause the death of somebody else during an illegal act. In this case, these guys were trying to steal a quad bike. PC Harper intervened. He got caught behind the car. He was dragged for a mile. He'd literally been married 1 month, a young man, just 28 years old. Absolutely unimaginable for his family. So it sounds like the government has found a way to make this exception. Of course, there will be all sorts of other bad people still being released early. I think there's 6,000 or thereabouts that may be released early under this early release scheme still. And there will be all sorts of other horrific cases where people will feel that this is wrong, fundamentally wrong. And indeed, today there's been a letter. Over 100 organisations have written to the government saying that this early release will directly go against the pledge that the government made to halve violence against women and girls in 10 years.
It's this accusation again, isn't it, of this lack of joined-up thinking from this government. And there are also accusations this morning, Catherine, that Andy Burnham is being played with the same problems as Sir Keir Starmer. They're being reactive rather than proactive, and this is going to be another U-turn.
Yes, because this won't be the only case. Of course, this is very high profile because it was so horrendous, but there will be others. So there's nothing good about releasing people early, but, you know, this is the same problem that the Tories had. The jails are full, they're almost at capacity, so there are no good options here. There are only bad options. But whatever the government does, there's still going to be lots of people upset. And of course, they're building more prison places. That takes time, but, you know, you wonder, this problem was allowed to build over many years, and it's only when it gets to crisis point that suddenly it's being addressed rather late.
OK, Catherine, thank you very much.
Now, 33 Brits, including a 13-year-old girl, are amongst hundreds still missing after a massive flood swept through Nepal.
Well, at least 165 people have now been confirmed dead after a glacial collapse triggered flash flooding and entire villages being buried in mud.
Well, Nepal's tourist board says there are more than 800 people still missing, including 33 Brits, 47 Americans, 34 Australians and 24 Canadians, many of those on a pilgrimage on their way to Tibet.
Well, video footage from the region shows bridges being swept away and people fleeing uphill as the floodwaters surged through valleys.
Let's talk to weather journalist Nathan Rao. I mean, people are still trying to work out what has caused this, Nathan, how this could have happened.
I mean, I don't need to describe to you in words the devastation. We've just seen that from your pictures. Absolutely astonishing. What this appears to be is a glacial collapse. So strangely, it wasn't raining in the area yesterday when this happened, and it seems to have been caused by what's called a glacial collapse in the Himalayas. About 5,000 meters high up in the Himalayas, a piece of glacier has broken off, fallen around 1,200 meters down into the river, picking up debris and ice as it's gone, and caused this landslide. I've heard reported that the actual debris and water that's coming down is being described as liquid concrete that is cascading into these villages around the river downstream from where this happened. Initially, the authorities thought this may have been caused by an earthquake, a 4.2 earthquake, but in fact it turns out that the seismic register was in fact caused by the landslide. It wasn't an earthquake. It was a piece of this glacier that's broken down and has plunged into the river, causing this catastrophic landslide that we're seeing now. And this is something that's going to be ongoing because, of course, the rivers feed into tributaries and rivers downstream through the Himalayas and into the surrounding regions. So a huge humanitarian crisis going on now, and an environmental one as well.
It's just absolutely devastating, isn't it, Nathan? And there are fears as well that there could be further flash flooding because of all of the debris that's in the river right now, which could be causing landslide dams.
Yes, that's right, Ellie. It's called river damming. As I mentioned, this huge amount of debris that's fallen down from the initial break-off of that glacier comes down into smaller rivers and causes, as you say, a dam, like a bottleneck. And behind that, the pressure builds up as the water and debris starts building up behind it, and that causes that to give and causes, again, another surge until that pressure is relieved. So, yes, that's going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to see right through down these rivers from the initial source as that river damming effect takes place and affecting the regions below that. And I think, and I know the effort is going to include now evacuation of those villages and regions that are in the direct path of this, and also the military and the police looking for people that have stranded and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, a real crisis in that area.
OK, Nathan, thanks very much indeed.
16 minutes past 8. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have returned to the UK with their children for what is expected to be an extended stay.
Well, landing at Birmingham Airport at lunchtime yesterday, the Sussexes were met by their own private security team.
Well, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet are expected to start at a British school in just a couple of weeks as the family settles into a new UK base believed to be in the Cotswolds.
All right, our royal correspondent Cameron Walker is here. There's all sorts of stuff circulating about this morning. I wonder how much of it we know to be true and how much is speculation. I mean, things like Harry's going to stay here for up to 15 years, but Meghan won't.
Yes, there's a lot of speculation and there's not many things that have been confirmed. The only thing that we got officially confirmed yesterday was the fact that the dogs are coming with them and not the chickens. That's the only thing they were prepared to talk about, which is insane, isn't it? Obviously, we have other sources, and we are very, very confident indeed that the Prince Harry and Meghan and the two children have arrived in the UK. We tracked the private jet, for example, which they flew on from an airport just north of Los Angeles. You can see it there on the flight path there, actually, of the flight they took to Birmingham, landing just before midday yesterday, suggesting that the Cotswolds or somewhere very near, or perhaps Northamptonshire, is where they are going to be setting up shop for now and having their new home. They're not getting rid of their Los Angeles property or Montecito property. They're also not getting rid of the Portugal property either. And clearly a private jet cost a lot of money to fly across the Atlantic in.
Can we talk about that private jet? Because
it
this
is
huge, and it must have cost them an absolute fortune.
Yeah, this is a Bombardier Global Express aircraft, which they hired, or believed to have hired, from the Planet 9 private jet company based out in California. We think it's about £9,000 an hour of flight time, and it's around, what, 9-10 hours to fly to LA to London. So, you know, we're talking close to £100,000 here. So the question is, well, why? And then the second question is, well, clearly they appear to have a lot of money if they can afford to fly across the Atlantic in a private jet with the 4 of them, probably 2 security guards and the 2 dogs as well on that aeroplane. The description of this is the ultra long-range Global XRS aircraft is designed to fly up to 12 hours at a time, making it a perfect solution for intercontinental journeys. With an elegant, large cabin interior, this aircraft is capable of comfortably seating up to 13 passengers with bedding arrangements for 6.
Why is it that we've had this sort of discussion as to whether, you know, what money they've got? I mean, they've been making millions upon millions of pounds in the States, so why would we think they're short of money?
I think it's a security question, to be honest, Stephen. I think it's security, the private security they obviously pay for costs a lot of money. I mean, we've talked a long time, haven't we, about Nigel Farage, for example, paying for his security with that £5 million donation. So it does cost a lot of money if it is sustained, long-term, 24/7 security that they are wanting to pay for. And there were question marks about how much money, for example, Diana's fund gave him, and indeed Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother's fund, and if that was potentially running out. But as you say, Stephen, it appears not. And of course, for Netflix contracts, which we believe they still have, Meghan in talks to potentially join the season 3 cast of The Gentleman on Netflix. Guy Ritchie, of course, directs that. Season 3 has been confirmed by Netflix, but Meghan's involvement is still a little bit up in the air. Tina Brown, the royal author, suggesting that those talks have ceased. There is conflicting information on that. So they clearly do have a bit of money and can afford to send 2 kids to private school.
Yeah. All right, Cameron,
Not going to be
thank
cheap,
you.
is it? Thanks,
No.
Cameron.
No, it's not. I tell you, I'd love to go in a private jet, would you?
Oh, we'd love to.
You're very nice.
Yeah, feel free to take me anytime.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. All right, time for the weather at 8:20 with Annie Shuttleworth.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier, though, further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England, where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding where we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas of these areas. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s here, so a very warm day indeed. It will feel humid as well into this evening once again. It's not until this weekend where we start to lose that humidity and warmth that you may have felt over the past few days. But a fine end to Thursday to come across more northwestern areas of Scotland, with shelter from the easterly wind. A bit more in the way of cloud across more northeastern areas of Scotland, northeastern England, seeing some of that heavy rain into this evening. A continued chance of heavy downpours into this evening as well across parts of Wales and central England. We could also see some heavy downpours across the southeast coast through the early hours of Friday. So a risk of some very heavy rain, but also some drier weather. You can see some drier gaps in the weather overnight tonight, and that will bring more cloud as well. Temperatures still on the high side overnight in the mid to high teens. We'll still feel quite humid to start the day on Friday, but fresher air is moving in for Friday from the north and west, and that will bring quite a fine day for parts of Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, it's going to be a bit of a mixed day. A risk of showers, a chance of some heavy rain through the day wherever you are. This bringing a risk of thunderstorms, but also some brighter weather. It will feel quite warm, but also the winds will start to pick up too, so do keep an eye on the forecast. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us still to come. The latest youth unemployment figures are out at 9:30 this morning. We're asking, how do we solve the rising NEETs problem? That is, young people out of education, work or training, isn't it? Is conscription a possible solution? We're going to be debating that next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Stop.
We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Now, the Prime Minister has called the more than 1 million young people not in education, employment or training a huge challenge.
Yeah, it could be an understatement, couldn't it? Well, he's urging employers to offer more work experience to help tackle the crisis.
Well, the latest NEET figures are due from the Office for National Statistics this morning. We're going to talk to the Work and Pensions Secretary at 9 o'clock. He's arguing young people shouldn't be blamed for the situation.
So this morning, we're asking, in the very dangerous world that we're living in, should we be introducing conscription in order to manage the NEETs crisis?
Well, it would give them something to do, wouldn't it? But is it the right thing for them? Let's talk to Ted Newsom, political commentator for Young Voices UK, and Defence and International Affairs consultant Thomas Clowes Pritchard. Good to see you both this morning. Ted, I'm going to start with you. Is this, for people who are, they're stuck at home, they have nothing to do with their lives, is this not the get up and go that would give them some direction and purpose?
Well, first of all, let's talk about how costly this is, because we talk about how underfunded our military is. Is that going to get any better by sending a whole load of workless young people to war? I don't think so. Then there's the cultural dimension, where are we really going to create this intergenerational divide where boomers haven't fought, they've lived off a great wave of credit and economic boom, and us young people have for that and now fight? It just doesn't sound right to me.
Thomas?
Thank you for having me. There are over 1 million young people aged 16 to 24 who are not in educational training or in employment. I think the military can serve a fantastic use here. I think the military provides amazing opportunities for people of all ages. You can join the army at the age of 16. A starting salary in the British Army is £27,000 a year. So, you know, not bad, especially for someone who has not gone to university, perhaps, or perhaps not completed A-levels or whatever it might be. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and it's a way of serving your country. I was a big advocate at the last general election of the Conservative policy of national service, and you know there are one or two things I might have done differently about that, but I think in principle it's a good one, and I think it also adds a little bit of national pride to young people.
See, what about the work ethic? I mean, I know it's not the ideal job for everybody, but if it's on a limited time, Ted, and it gives people that, you know, that work ethic, that chance to be out and about and getting up every morning and having some discipline, isn't that something which is going to have a positive impact on young people's lives as they get older?
Well, this is the issue. We need to build a country with jobs and a growing economy. What we don't need is to send a whole load of our young men into war situations. I mean, we need to build a country that has jobs, for goodness sake. We need low taxes. We need to make work pay and actually change the culture around work so that you're not stuck in a minimum wage job where you're living essentially paycheck to paycheck. You're paying a whole load of tax towards welfare. For goodness sake, let's start making work pay.
Thomas, one of our viewers has just got in touch here. This is Peter saying, why would the army want an influx of unfit, reluctant recruits?
I don't think that's necessarily what the army would get. Ted, on economics, I agree with you, but I don't think the two are necessarily mutually exclusive. Look at Israel, for example, a thriving economy with national service. Now, obviously, Israel's geopolitical position is very, very different to our own, but it works very well. People who participate in the national service, and there is a civic option as well, but people who participate learn skills, they can get qualifications, they then go on to pursue careers. So, for example, Israel's high-tech sector is chock-a-block full of people who did tech-related qualifications in the Israeli Defence Force. So it can provide fantastic opportunities as well. There's no reason why we can't have a thriving economy, a low-tax, low-spend, thriving economy, and have strong armed forces and encouraging our young people to join.
You don't suddenly grow patriotism by sending people into a war environment. All you're doing is making them more violent.
The only thing I would say is that you do keep mentioning a war environment, and of course most people in the armed forces don't go to war. I mean, we've had this tremendous peace dividend, and we've got a bit of damage as a result of that. But nevertheless, most people who are in the armed forces, and certainly people who are on national service or whatever, would not be... They're not going to be sort of brought on board and immediately shipped out to a war zone, are they?
Well, let's have a look at the international environment. I mean, Russia's already in Ukraine, and you have a look at the war there. It's mainly technology that's killing people. I mean, that sounds terrifying to me. You look at Iran, you look at China knocking on Taiwan's door. This is the most dangerous international environment we've had in a long, long time. And ultimately, there are people in the Home Office and in the Foreign Office that are saying we're a few years off a war. Now, would I want to go into the army with that as my prospect a few years down the track? Absolutely not.
Thomas, final word to you.
I would just say, Ted, I think you've summed up my own argument rather well, which is that we are in an incredibly dangerous place. Russia and China and Iran are incredibly dangerous threats to the United Kingdom, and that's why we need a much, much bigger armed forces. And if that can provide opportunities for young people who are unemployed, fantastic.
All right, you two. Got to leave it there. Thank you both very much indeed. I'm sure you've got a view.
Well, Joe has a view who says, I joined the army at 16. I've travelled the world over a 22-year career. Conscription doesn't automatically mean going into the infantry. Get a trade as a plumber, a vet, an electrician, HGV driver, all the rest. Let them do 3 years and then see if they like it. Then the world is their lobster. As he says.
Lobster, fair enough. All right, look, time for the competition now. It's a great British giveaway. It's our biggest of the year so far. Here are the details.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Your chance to win £110,000 in prizes, our biggest giveaway of the year so far. First, we want you to drive away in this. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. The McClue Fusion comes fully loaded with all of the home comforts you'd expect. Built-in modern kitchen, bathroom, fridge freezer, and it's worth £75,000. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save, or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome. This incredible prize package is exclusive to GB News. You won't see it anywhere else, so make sure you don't miss out.
For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. We may call the winner live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, if you're travelling to work this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M3 eastbound is affected by a collision between junctions 3 and 2 in Thorpe, and the M25 clockwise has delays after a collision between junctions 2 and 3 in Darinth. In Scotland, the M73 northbound has 2 lanes restricted between junctions 4 and 3 at Mollinsburn. Across Wales, the A55 from J24 Faenol to J23A Pensarn is closed with possible delays. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Bristol Parkway and Gloucester, and East Midlands Railway has a temporary reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Your views. Just to be clear, my viewers are frustrated. Your voice. Lots of you guys getting in touch. Your perspective. Before these two start fisticuffs. Your issues. What is the official party line? Your concerns. Do you agree with that? Your show. Are you keeping up? Good. I'm so excited to be back. This Tuesday at 6 p.m. Jubes & Co. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Aiden's here.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back.
Hello. Have we got a bit of boxing?
We have indeed.
You know I like my boxing.
You could say a bit of boxing. I mean, this is a massive fight at the O2. Filip Hrgović against Moses Itauma. I think he's a generational talent, this kid.
Yeah, you like him, don't you?
I do. I've met him a couple of times. I've been lucky enough to be introduced to him, and I think he's going to be around for a long, long time. As we see the kind of AJ Fury circus kind of move on and head over the hill out of the way. This is the guy we'll be talking to right now. Another person we need to talk to is the promoter, Frank Warren. Now, Frank, you told me earlier in the week, I mean, it's well known that Itauma could this weekend become the youngest world heavyweight title winner since Mike Tyson. Mike was, 20 years old, I think he was, in 86, but I've been looking at the record book. I mean, Floyd Patterson was 21. Muhammad Ali had to wait until 22. I mean, if Itauma does it over the weekend, he's in some company, isn't he?
He is, but he's got a tough fight, Aidan. It's he's in with a very, very good opponent in Filip Hrgović, who really does fancy himself. He's got great amateur background, comes from Croatia. He was an Olympic medalist, got a bronze medal in Olympic Games, stellar amateur career. He's had 20 fights as a pro, so he's not got a lot of miles on the clock, but he's been in with very good opponents, and this is his biggest test, and this is a real big test for him. But we believe in him, and we do hope he goes on to become the second youngest to ever win a world title, heavyweight title, and the youngest to ever win a Brit to win a heavyweight title. So that's be a big accolade if he does it.
Absolutely. Now, it's not just big for boxing either. I mean, I think the advancement or the progression of this kid, it's not just big for boxing, as I say, it's big for British sport, isn't it?
It is. If he comes through this, he could go on to become an icon. I mean, you've met him, Aidan. He's a very grounded guy. For 21 years old, he's very, very mature. He's got a good brain on him, and very humble. He doesn't look too much like the limelight, although he's got to get used to that. And he's handling it well up to yet. But Saturday night we're more or less sold out there. I think the atmosphere is going to be fabulous, and if he does come through, I think he can go on and become a crossover sportsman. He could become something like a Beckham as to the public and a role model for youngsters. I really do believe that. He's very, very intelligent. He's got a really good attitude. Very, very approachable. Really nice guy.
And I mean, as I say, I mean, he's somebody who, it's quite rare in my experience. He's a boxer who is quite respectful towards his opponent.
That's what I'm saying. He is. He's very respectful, and he does his talking in the ring. He's got phenomenal hand speed. He's got a good boxing brain, great hand speed. I mean, I would say at this stage of his career, and all the fighters I've been involved with over the years, and I've been doing this 50 years now, he's probably at this age the best I've been involved with. So the big test obviously is on Saturday, but that's how I feel about it. But Saturday, as I say, I hope you prove I'm right. But it's going to be something special tonight.
Tell me about the undercard, Frank.
Sam Noakes on there from Kent. He's on the verge of fighting for a world title. He's in with Berencek, a former world title champion, I should say. And this is a big step up for him. We've signed some new young heavyweights who are on the card. We'll be showcasing them. We've got a multitude of our great young talent on there, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy it. Really good fight card, very competitive fights all the way through.
Just quickly before you go, Frank, Fury Joshua, November the 20th.
Oh. Syson's all up for it. He's done. He's dusted. He's agreed to the date and to the fight. It's all down to AJ now. It's up to him. And I can't speak for him.
No, you can't. Certainly not. Listen, great to see you as always, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Actually, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, Dave.
Here's Frank Warren there, just ahead of that fight on Saturday. It's going to be a hell of a showdown. I'll be bringing all of the coverage to you on Sunday morning.
Look forward to it. Should be good. Should be good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Aidan, thank you very much.
Now, 33 Brits, as we've been telling you, including a 13-year-old girl, are amongst about 800 people still missing after a flood swept through Nepal.
Look.
Well, at least 165 people have now been confirmed dead after a glacial collapse triggered flash flooding and buried entire villages in mud.
Well, let's talk to a Nepalese charity worker, Damodar Acharya, who joins us now. Good to see you this morning. We appreciate your time. Can you tell, how is Nepal coping with this, particularly with something so devastating in such a remote area?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning. This is really heartbreaking, and we don't know how many casualties, what is the actual damage. It's really tough to say that, but it's very devastating, and people are struggling even to express. People are very emotional, and they have lost people. They have lost their loved ones, and it's really difficult to say. But people are trying to help each other, but it's really tough even to get and help each other. The government is trying its best. All the helicopters, no private flights, but everything is now focused on the floods, on the disaster. The government, the militaries, the police officers, and all the aid workers are in there.
Damodar, tell us about the region. Tell us about the terrain there, because it is very difficult, isn't it, for the rescuers who are now going to battle to try and reach survivors?
Yeah, it is really difficult because it is eastern part of Nepal, and you can see all the roads are blocked and not enough the air evacuation. Government is trying, and then even the aid agencies, they are trying, but it's really the weather condition is not really great. It's a bit cloudy, and visibility is not that great. But yeah, you can see all the images of how people are working very hard, but the people there are very affected, and the government is trying to put them, to rescue them and put somewhere in a shelter where they will provide all the food, medicine, and the relief materials for the immediate relief.
It's just terrifying when looking at some of the pictures. Is this situation bad enough, do you think, that international aid is going to be needed here? Because it looks like it's going to be a long process.
It is, as I said earlier, we don't know the casualties. We don't know how much is the damage. You can see all the many bridges are destroyed. No electricity in that area. The houses are swept away. So it will take a lot of time to rebuild the country, rebuild that part, particularly the eastern part. And now it's not only the eastern part of the country, but also it's going further south towards Trishuli, and we don't know how much is the cost. So it will require a lot of international aids, and we expect from all the aid agencies to help Nepal rebuild, and also not only to rebuild, even at the moment to focus on the humanitarian relief, humanitarian support. And then in the long term, yes, there will be a lot of support we will require in Nepal to rebuild the country.
Well, let's hope that support comes quickly. Damodar, thank you so much for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you very much. Hope all the support will come through.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it will, Damodar. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got lots more still to come for you, including we'll take you to the zoo, Whipsnade, I think,
Yeah.
for the weigh-in.
The annual weigh-in.
Yeah.
Are the animals fighting fit? We'll find out.
Sure they will be. First, is your European forecast.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The weather's a bit more mixed across parts of Europe as well as in the UK. Intense thunderstorms across some central areas of Europe. Wetter weather affecting the west as well into parts of Portugal and Spain. That's thanks to low pressure being close by. Temperatures close to average here, but it's for southern areas of Italy towards the Mediterranean where the heat wave is ongoing. Temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s across parts of the Mediterranean. It will tend to cool off a little bit as we head towards the weekend, but remains dry and sunny. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
A tetraplegic veteran is embarking on a 79-mile journey in an off-road wheelchair to prove that life can still be extraordinary.
Yes, Danny Mayer, who served in the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards in Iraq, was paralysed from the neck down after a motorcycle accident 6 years ago.
Well, the 41-year-old Glaswegian is now preparing to travel the Great Glen Way in Scotland, of course.
Feeling nervous now, being just a month from it. Stand by my idiotic phrase. Definitely that's starting to approach me a little bit more. Hopefully a little bit more inspiring by the end of the journey, but I'm feeling like, you know, as most people do when they take on a challenge or at least something that's out of their reach, maybe a little chaotic.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
There's also a big issue with pigeons in Norwich, but the Greens are not allowing them to be culled. They're supported by a group called Peck Savers, which I think is rather good. And somebody turned up at a council meeting dressed as a pigeon. And you just think, wait a minute, you know, the world's on fire, there are various wars around the place, and they're obsessing about how to deal with pigeons. It does seem quite bizarre, their priorities. But they have proposed pigeon contraception. What? I would like to see that in action. Yeah. I would like to see somebody try and... this is a family show, but I cannot understand how that would happen. But it does seem to me that their priorities are completely upside down.
That's what some Green councillors have advocated.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Royal Navy was the most powerful navy in the world at that time. That was really the bigger ships, the sort of capital ships they're called. When it came to small ships, we really weren't. And especially minesweepers, there was something like 30 sweepers to protect 20,000 miles of coastline. So Churchill, as First Lord of the Admiralty, realised quickly something needed to be done, and he mobilised what became known as the Royal Naval Patrol Service, rather a dry name. But he requisitioned 200 trawlers, deep-sea trawlers from Grimsby, Hull, all those big sort of fishing ports, and their crews. And they were fish holes were turned into mess decks. Fishing nets were removed, replaced by sweeping gear.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Oh, you know, I'm really disappointed.
Why?
Because, I'll tell you for why. Because we were going to take you to Whipsnade Zoo. I love Whipsnade. It's a great place to go and visit.
Then?
Whipsnade, it's sort of down the M1.
It rings a bell. I feel like I might have been.
Yeah, you might have been. Because it's the weigh-in. It's the annual weigh-in.
The annual weigh-in.
And it's really important, of course, just to check on the health. I mean, they constantly do it, don't they? Check on the health of all the animals and what have you. But amongst those that were going to be weighed and that we wanted to bring you pictures of was an Asian elephant calf, which would be a beautiful thing to see.
And a white rhino calf as well. And they're so incredibly rare, aren't they?
And 5 Northern African lion cubs. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Anyway, unfortunately, our line's gone down.
The line has gone down.
Should we blame the weather? Because the weather's not great at the minute.
The weather's not great. Lots of rain coming today, so
Yeah.
maybe that's what it is. But we're struggling with our connection with Isabel Fekulac. So we're going to keep trying.
Oh,
We'll see if we
are.
can manage to bring those pictures to you.
Yeah, because it'd be a lovely thing to
And
see.
they'd be very, very cute to see this morning. But in the meantime, so many of you getting in touch on our conscription debate that we had a little bit earlier on in the programme. Yeah, should we introduce conscription in order to manage the NEETs crisis, that is young people out of employment, work or training? Colin says, make work pay. If they're better off in benefits, why would they want to get a job? Why would they want to get out there? It is absolute madness, which is exactly what Ted was saying. Make work pay.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, that was the whole argument of Ian Duncan-Smith when he brought in universal credit, was to say you need to make work pay. You know, that we need to support people, but then make it that you earn more if you're out there working. I just think for those people who haven't got anything, they're not doing anything else, aged 18 to 24 or 16 to 24, whatever the age group would be, and if it gives them something to do for a limited amount of time, 12 months, 2 years, or what have you, and it gets them into that whole work ethic, and they can be doing sort of behind-the-scenes stuff maybe, and those who want to could progress to proper full-on, you know, year one training and that sort of thing. I wonder if it would just be a positive thing for them. It's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it gives you purpose, doesn't it? It gives you drive. It gives you something to get out of bed for in the morning. Joe's been in touch saying the army sets you up for life. You can make a career out of it. And that's exactly what Helen Watley was talking about earlier from the Tory party, saying we need lifelong jobs. We need a lifelong career. Well, the army would give you that, wouldn't it?
It'd be nice to have a lifelong career, but they're few and far between at the moment. A job for life isn't a real thing anymore, is it? Not very often.
But Joe says, comrades, discipline, loyalty and friendship, you get to see the world. I see mates after not seeing them for years, and we pick up like it was yesterday. There's a lot to be said for a career in the army.
There is. Meanwhile, all of this stems around the youth unemployment figures. The new ones are out in just over half an hour. We're going to be talking to Pat McFadden, the Work and Pensions Secretary. Whether he'll give us a heads up on those figures, we'll wait and see.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier, though, further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding when we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas of these areas. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s here, so a very warm day indeed. It will feel humid as well into this evening once again. It's not until this weekend where we start to lose that humidity and warmth that you may have felt over the past few days. But a fine end to Thursday to come across more northwestern areas of Scotland with shelter from the easterly wind. A bit more in the way of cloud across more northeastern areas of Scotland, northeastern England, seeing some of that heavy rain into this evening. A continued chance of heavy downpours into this evening as well across parts of Wales and central England. We could also see some heavy downpours across the southeast coast through the early hours of Friday. So a risk of some very heavy rain, but also some drier weather. You can see some drier gaps in the weather overnight tonight, and that will bring more cloud as well. Temperatures still on the high side overnight in the mid to high teens. We'll still feel quite humid to start the day on Friday, but fresher air is moving in for Friday from the north and west, and that will bring quite a fine day for parts of Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, it's going to be a bit of a mixed day. A risk of showers, a chance of some heavy rain through the day wherever you are. This bringing a risk of thunderstorms, but also some brighter weather, and we'll feel quite warm. But also the winds will start to pick up too, so do keep an eye on the forecast. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M3 eastbound is affected by a collision between junctions 3 and 2 in Thorpe. The A14 eastbound is affected by a collision between junctions 23 and 24B. In Scotland, the M74 northbound has 3 lanes restricted at junction 1A, Polmady Road Junction. Across Wales, the A55 from J24 Faenol to J23A Pensarn is closed with possible delays. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Bristol Parkway and Gloucester, and East Midlands Railway services have a temporary reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's brand new and it's the big one. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could win this brand new 4-berth motorhome. But that's just the beginning, as we'll also give you a whopping £35,000 in tax-free cash to spend, save, or just to use to enjoy adventures in your new motorhome.
For a chance to win, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB23 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 23rd of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The battle to find dozens of British nationals missing and feared dead after devastating flash flooding in Nepal.
Nepalese police say at least 165 people are dead as 33 UK citizens remain unaccounted for, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl.
Well, we now know more than 800 are missing in Nepal, with rescue teams battling very difficult terrain to try to reach survivors.
Yeah, Nepal have drafted in military personnel to aid this rescue effort, but mud 2 metres thick is hampering efforts to rescue survivors.
Elsewhere today, the killers of PC Harper will not be freed under the early release scheme, following Andy Burnham's pledge to do everything possible to keep Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole behind bars.
We're going to be talking to the Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden, coming up as the government's job guarantee scheme comes into force.
Well, earlier we spoke to the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary, Helen Watley.
Really what's going on here is that Labour has taxed businesses, added to red tape and reduced the opportunities for young people.
Berlin could bolster Britain's nuclear shield under new plans to end our reliance on America.
Screen limits, blocked feeds, silenced notifications. Meta's $17 billion shake-up of Facebook and Instagram for American teenagers.
And more sad news from the world of showbiz, because Tim Curry, the actor best known for playing Dr. Frankenfurter in the cult classic The Rocky Horror Picture Show and lots of other things as well, has died at the age of 80.
Good morning. A wet start across southern areas. That rain will push northwards throughout the morning, but there is a thunderstorm warning out for much of England and Wales. I will have all the details for you a little later on.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
So we'll start with the news then that as it currently stands, and those figures do change, but it looks like 33 Britons, including a 13-year-old girl, are missing after hundreds, still counted missing after massive flooding swept through Nepal.
Look.
Well, at least 177 people have now been confirmed dead after a glacial collapse triggered flash flooding and buried entire villages in mud.
Let's talk to our national reporter, Will Godley, who's here in the studio, keeping an eye across all of this. I mean, those pictures are absolutely terrifying, Will.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely terrifying, and many people will find them distressing. It's been described as almost a tsunami, but this is as far as you can get from the coast high up in the Himalayas. What's actually happened is a lower part of a glacier up in the mountain has collapsed, basically, falling hundreds of metres into the valley and releasing a huge amount of water, and the force actually was enough to register on the earthquake meters. Initially, it was thought it was an earthquake, but it was this huge amount of ice and rock falling into the valley, and just the force of that spreading this water at points 200 metres high, a wave 200 metres high, it's been reported, through towns and villages, and also caused rivers to burst their banks, and it's been called catastrophic flash flooding, and it really is, from those pictures we've seen. The death toll as it stands at the moment, the Nepali officials have just said stands at 177, but likely, sadly, to rise. Over 1,000 missing at the moment, including many tourists, 644, Nepal's official figures say, and among them 33 Brits. And now, why are people there on holiday and as tourists? Well, this is a popular trekking route into the Himalayas. Many people go on these kind of 2-week treks from Nepal into Tibet, and they're trying to hike to the top of Mount Kailash. Now, this is a popular pilgrimage for many Hindus, and also a popular mountain to climb as well for many mountaineers and adventure tourists. So a few tour operators have been in touch to say that they have Brits missing, including the Alpine Eco Trek tour company. They said, very sadly, a 13-year-old girl is amongst the British nationals missing, and their manager has told the Press Association here in the UK that they are just thinking about what to do next. At the moment, they just feel deep pain, and they were in touch with their tour group until about 8:40 yesterday morning. Now, all of this flooding started about 8:30 in the morning, right on that border with Tibet, and they say at that point this tour group would have been in Tibet's immigration office, so they're hoping rescuers will be able to get to that point and hoping that they'll be inside there. We have heard reports that some people have been rescued from likes of tunnels and things like that over the last 24 hours. Another tour company, similar story as well, on these 15-day tours through the mountains. So very distressing stuff for people who might know anyone on these tours, or any mountaineers who similarly could know these parts of the world as well. Well, Nepal have drafted in their military to help with rescue efforts, some 2,000 military personnel there. But what's really hampering their efforts is this thick mud that's now been left in large parts of the rescue areas, in some parts 2 metres thick, which is really hampering efforts to rescue any survivors. Andy Burnham has said the scenes emerging are devastating. His thoughts, he says, are with those affected, and he says his government is doing everything we can to support British nationals.
OK, Will Godley, thank you so much for bringing us that update.
Now, the first young people supported by the government's new jobs guarantee scheme have officially started work this week.
Yes, the scheme offers a direct route into a job for 18 to 24-year-olds who've been claiming universal credit and looking for work for 18 months or more.
Well, ministers say over 90,000 fully funded jobs will be created through the scheme over the next 3 years. It's part of a £2.5 billion drive to tackle youth unemployment.
Well, we're joined now by Work and Pensions Secretary Pat McFadden. Very good morning to you, Mr McFadden. Let's start with this scheme, shall we? Because the first cohort of young people have started work through it. Tell us more.
I went to visit Boots in Nottingham yesterday, a great British company, and at their HQ there, they've taken on the first number of people on our Jobs Guarantee scheme, and that's a scheme where when young people have been out of work for 18 months or more, we will step in and pay the wages for 6 months, 25 hours a week at national minimum wage rates. And the reason we do that is because of what I call the stickiness in the benefit system, that when people have been out of work for a long time, it's very, very hard for them to get back into work. And it was really remarkable, and I would say inspiring, to meet young people who just a matter of 6 weeks ago had been on the dole, sometimes been on the dole for years, with all the lack of belief and confidence and hope that that entails, and to see the change in them, to hear them say, I'm going to use my wages to buy driving lessons, or I want to work in this section of the company. They had a whole new sense of hope. So it is an economic policy and a labour market policy, but it's also a policy based on hope, and we need to offer more hope to young people because, frankly, for many years now, we've had too many of them out of work.
Yeah, well, and look, and great. I mean, there's lots about it on that sort of level which sound really, really good. The concern has got to be if you're paying the wages for the first 6 months and these companies that, like Boots, are taking them on, what happens when you stop paying the wages? Because there's no guarantee, actually, is there, that a company like Boots or the others are going to keep these people on?
So I put that question, that precise question, to the managers at Boots yesterday. I said, what chances are there of retention for these young people after the 6 months is over? And they told me the chances of retention are very high because people grow in confidence. They get used to the pride and purpose that comes with having a job. They get used to having to set the alarm clock and get up in the morning. But after 6 months of that, compared to 2 or 3 years in the dole, they're leading a different life. They've changed in a positive way as people, so the chances of retention are much higher. That's why we don't just do the Jobs Guarantee. We're promoting 300,000 more work experience placements for young people, as well as Boots. The Prime Minister and I visited Sainsbury's yesterday in South London, where they're offering 10,000 work experience placements for young people, and they hire thousands of young people every year. So that bit of experience, that bit of getting used to the workplace, makes a great difference to their chances for the future. This is a really positive story at a time when there's so much negative news around. We're giving hope to young people, and it was fantastic to meet those benefiting yesterday.
We're looking ahead to those new NEET figures at 9:30 this morning. That's young people not in education, work or training. What are you expecting to see in those figures? Do you think you would have improved on those numbers? 1 million currently out of work?
I don't want to predict whether the figures will move slightly one way or the other, but I'll tell you this, the current figure is too high, and it's been too high for too long. Those figures went up by about 250,000 between the end of the pandemic and the general election 2 years ago. And the situation we inherited was there was no jobs guarantee in place. There wasn't the funding for the 300,000 extra work experience placements. And in fact, on top of that, youth apprenticeship starts had declined by 40% in 10 years. I am changing that too. I want to see 50,000 more youth apprenticeship starts in the next few years because apprenticeships are a great way into work for young people. So the NEET figures, when they're published in an hour or so's time, I predict they'll still be too high, but the difference now compared to a few years ago is that hope is on the way and help is on the way through the investment that we're making into work experience, youth apprenticeships, and indeed, in the end, paid subsidised work for the long-term young unemployed.
Yeah, but look, there's a lot to be said for But, 6 months of this work with the Jobs Guarantee Scheme and these young people being much more employable at the end of it, that's a great thing. That's to be celebrated. But what businesses are going to turn around and tell you, Pat McFadden, is that at the end of it, these young people may be more employable, but because of tax hikes and national insurance contributions and all the rest of it, these businesses still won't have the money to start employing new people.
Well, the businesses I was speaking to yesterday hire tens of thousands of young people every year. Somebody like Sainsbury's hires 30,000, 40,000 people every year, most of them young people. We did a work experience initiative recently with McDonald's. They hire a similar number of young people every year. And with regard to national insurance and costs, we have asked business to pay more in recent years, but there's an important tax break in the system for young people. Employers don't have to pay any national insurance for taking on a young person who's under 21. I think that's a tax break that's probably not as well known as it should be, but it's there in the system. And we raised the threshold to exempt some really small businesses who only employ a few people from having to pay employers' national insurance at all. So I accept all of these things are costs, but we are trying to help businesses with the costs by that tax break. And in addition now, I'm offering employers a hiring incentive of £3,000 if they'll take on a young person who's been out of work for 6 months or more. So we're trying to help businesses with those costs because we want this to be a real national cause, opportunity for young people. The government's got its part to play and its job to do, but I am hoping that great British businesses like the ones that we've been talking to will step up and help us with this effort too.
Got to ask you about the devastating situation in Nepal after the flash flooding there, leaving 177 dead so far. There are 33 Brits missing, including a 13-year-old schoolgirl. What is the government doing to try and find those missing Brits, and what help are we going to be offering Nepal?
Well, it's an appalling and devastating situation. Anybody who saw the pictures yesterday of that wall of water and mud sweeping away buildings, people, everything in its path, we are doing everything we can to help the Nepalese authorities. You're right to say that they've said there are currently 33 UK citizens missing. It's a dynamic situation. It's possible that figure could grow. My colleague, the Foreign Secretary, has posted 2 phone numbers on the Foreign Office website and social media for concerned families. We know that families will be desperate for information. We'll get all the information we can to the families, and as a government we will do everything we can to support the Nepalese authorities in the rescue effort that is underway.
OK, Pat McFadden, good to talk to you. Thanks for braving the rain this morning. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, still to come. It's going to be a good one because we're going to meet the actor Tamer Hassan. You'll know him from loads of different stuff, but he's got a new movie out. We'll bring you the latest in just a sec.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Right, now this is a treat for you. We'll introduce you to a man who spent decades playing some of the hardest men on screen, from a Millwall firm leader to a Batman villain. And if you're like me, you're a geek, you remember him from NCIS as well, which is a classic recurring role, which I love. And he's built an incredible career on the back of it all.
Well, he is back as the face of one of the biggest British gangster franchises around, with the newest instalment, Retribution, out this month. Out tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah. Rise of the Foot Soldier. Let's have a look at this incredible franchise.
We killed his best mate.
What do you mean, we?
5 days ago, a shipment of stolen assault rifles was taken from a war zone in Bosnia. The man responsible for the theft is Jack Sullivan.
What do you know about my guns?
Everything.
Tamer Hassan is in the studio. Great to see you. Every time I see you in anything, I think I wouldn't want to mess with that bloke. I wouldn't want to mess with you.
It's just entertainment, that's all.
What's it like to be back in this sort of thing?
It's great to be back. I took some time out, as you know, to do some humanitarian work over in Turkey. And I kind of put it down for a minute.
Yeah.
I'd done so much prior to that, but and then I came back, and Chi, who's a director on another film I did called Bad Day at the Office, chased me around for quite a while, pitched that film to me, and then I started with that one, and then Andy and Nick from Carnaby presented me with this opportunity, which I was very, very excited about. I was approached. We was in talks with the two before, but for some reason it didn't work out, and then this one worked out, and I'm very grateful and happy that I was a part of it. It was really good.
And you're saying it's very different, this one?
Very different.
In what way?
So different. Well, Craig Fairbrass, who drives the bus on these movies, done a great job up to now. I wanted to keep all the effing and the effing and blinding out of it a little bit, and we kind of spoke about it, and his character's got a little bit more empathy. But the tagline at the start of it was Tate versus Tate, because I played Pat Tate in Bonded by Blood, and he's obviously played Pat Tate numerous times. And then it came together. We looked at the script, we worked it out. Leo Gregory, I have to say, is outstanding, and everyone else in the cast. But Leo and me, we're a duo of mass destruction. The character is, his name's Colonel Sullivan. I don't want to say too much. His opening scene, you'll get the feel of him on the opening scene. And Tate cuts across my arm still by default, and then it opens up to an absolute thrill ride of destruction, and there's a really big fight scene between us. But I think for the first time in the franchise, Craig's character Pat has had somebody come up against him that's as big and as brutal and probably more ruthless and dangerous than he is.
You see, we love all of this sort of thing, doesn't it? I mean, it's a real sort of good genre, which people just love it because it's I mean, it is incredibly
it has an audience, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And I think the franchise is 15, 20 years old, and I think the good thing about this one, the audience has obviously grown up with the film, and this one's a little, I call it the maturer version, and it caters for everyone. You know, I've heard the boys saying they talk about the white van man. You know, a lot of the Hollywood films and the big, you know, blockbuster movies that they do with all the action. I don't know why they say it, but I kind of get what Craig and Andy and Nick's saying about who it caters for, but it's definitely got something for everyone.
We see, it's interesting because you said this is coming out next week, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
And then you've got Bad Day at the Office out in October.
October the 30th.
To be having a little bit, you've had a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
Come back, and you've got 2 movies just out. I mean, you're back with a bang.
Yeah, do you know what? It's quite funny. When I first started, I kind of got plucked out of, you know, whatever it is and put in front of a camera. And when I first started, I had 5 films out in the cinema at once, and there was no social media, there was no platforms like Netflix and stuff. It was just cinema. Pirate DVDs, what I used to do, but apart from that, it would go straight to DVD. And I had 5 films come out, and then it was kind of a big bang, and everyone went, well, where did he come from? And I feel that's happening again. I had a bit of a bad time, as you do. I'm sober now. I've been sober for quite a while, and I love where I am in life. And it's exciting to be back. I like being where I am. I like being in front of a camera. It's my happy place.
It's like a homecoming.
Yeah, it's a homecoming. It's quite funny. I see it as I've not been around for a while, but nobody else sees that.
No,
it's really bizarre because
we see everything on repeat.
Yeah, do you know the weird thing is I think I've done like 75 titles. I've done so much work, and things are just on all the time. If it isn't one of these films, it's NCIS, as you said earlier, which I had a recurring role in, which was quite fun to do.
The only man, I mean, NCIS was so huge, and we're the only man to call Gibbsy.
Gibbo, Gibbo. But he liked that because I did it in the reading, and he went, nobody's ever stood toe to toe with me, so he kept bringing me back, which brave move, but it worked out. It worked out. He liked it.
Brilliant to see you back.
Yeah, it's good to be
We'll be
back.
at the cinema tomorrow.
Bless you.
We're looking forward to
Hope
it.
you enjoy it.
We'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
really good to see you.
Thank you,
See you.
Zara.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Right, beat that, Andrew and Miriam.
Well,
I don't think we would beat him.
No, you do. You definitely
don't have much chance at all.
How much do you think an elephant weighs?
Oh, I don't know. This is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're going to find out in our
3
show
ton.
because the elephant. Wow, the average weight of an elephant is indeed 3,000 kilograms.
There you go.
Well done.
just an
You need to watch now, but please watch anyway because the immigration stats are also going to drop.
They are.
Okay.
And we're going to get some wet weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Heavy rain will move northwards throughout today. We're bringing a risk of thunderstorms to parts of Wales and England. Drier though further north, but we do have a weather warning out through much of today, particularly for parts of North Wales into central areas of England where the rain may last quite a while, bringing a risk of some surface water flooding where we get a lot of rain falling in a short space of time. There's also a chance of some heavy downpours, bringing a risk of thunderstorms across more southern areas into this afternoon. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, it's going to be a dry and bright day, particularly for more northwestern areas.